there ain't no stopping us. Fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like Kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When that's enough, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When that's enough, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot, yeah, shoot, yeah, shooting, yeah, shooting, shot. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
What's happening, people? Welcome back to Tottenham Away. It's our final late live show of the season. And my goodness me, we've got a great show to end it all with. Got a great panel, got loads of people coming during the show as well. But please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. You know how it works. And before we begin, before we say hello to everyone, before we do anything, to all those Arsenal fans who've been following our channel this year, the banter, the back and forth, and this, and that, Arteta this, Arteta that, all I've got to say to you is, Bottlers again, ole, ole. Bottlers again, ole, ole. Bottlers again, Bottlers again, Bottlers again, ole, ole. And if you don't understand, then let me show you what happened in the away stand at Sheffield today.
I love the fucking logo with the plastic water pistol. It's bloody brilliant.
Listen. There was so much division on Tuesday night. There was so much anger and just frustration and mentality. This wrong attitude, that. Everyone singing that song would not have been able to sing that song if we'd beaten Man City on Tuesday. That's why we had to beat them, people. We had to. So, look, sorry, we had to lose. Correct. Correct. Banter aside, I can officially announce that Tottenham Hotspur have 1, qualified for Europe. 2, we have kept the manager for 1 full season. And 3, come on,
manager per season.
It's like a trophy.
It's my first. It's my first.
It's Michael. Welcome, man. Welcome. Welcome to the feeling. I was going to say number 3.
Nice.
I was going to say number 3. We've won just as much as Arsenal, but I can't because Arsenal have won an award, the participation certificate. Well done, Arsenal. Congratulations. You've been awarded a participation certificate at challenging for a league title. Do you know what cracks me up, guys, about all this? And this is why I go in. This is why I go in on them. I remember with Poch, okay, when we had all the best stats, and I've got it all here. We were the first for goals scored, set pieces, chances created, shots on target, goals conceded, everything. Number 1, you name it. Keeper sweeping, shooting accuracy, youngest average. Look at this. First, everything. First. And all I ever heard from Arsenal fans was, "Oh, but what have you won? Who cares? You don't win anything." And now this year, best defense, best goal scoring, youngest team, best progressions, best this, best that, blah, blah, blah. All I'm saying is, what have you won? I don't want to hear, but next season, but. This is exactly what I had to deal with from them when we had Poch. So now the shoe's on the other foot. I love it. Okay. Mari, how you doing, brother? How you been?
I'm feeling great. It was nice looking at the Man City celebration and watching Kai Havertz, the big prick, cry. Today's game, it's Sheffield. Yes, the celebration. It's Sheffield, so we were supposed to win. We were supposed to win convincingly. I don't want to hear from any fans, "Oh, Crystal Palace smacked Aston Villa." I saw bits of the game. I had my cell phone, my big screen, and my iPad, and I looked at some of the games. Aston Villa really didn't care. They really clinch. So for those of you who want to say, "Oh, this City game," well, no. Aston Villa didn't show up today because they already clinched. They didn't need to show up. But other than that, today's game, home. Like I told you, I'm checked out. Really checked out. I'm just watching the game for content. I know we're gonna break things down. I got something to say about Brennan Johnson. About that 81st minute, something that's very, very important. But other than that, I mean, like, I'm glad the season's over, and we got a lot of work to do. If you believe that we're going to back this manager, there's a lot to be done, folks. That's all I gotta say.
We will get into it. We'll discuss today's game. We'll discuss the Premier League season as a whole, and then we will also discuss, what hopes or what fears we've got for next season regarding Spurs. Michael, how you doing, brother? How's things?
Everything good. My body is aching. My local team is currently tied for first in the league. 1 match before the season ends, so yeah, it's a bit tense. But yeah, other than that, everything great. Listen, I enjoyed today's games. Honestly, I love it when they play 10 games at one time. It's honestly like the goals galore. But other than that, listen, I'm glad that this season has ended because I felt like we as the fan base were like on the edge again. I feel like with every passing season, there comes like a moment in a season, in each season that I've been a supporter, that our fan base starts like boiling over, right? And I think that we didn't reach that point where everything explodes, right? Fortunately, the season has ended on a win, and I just hope that we have a bit of time to cool down. I want to see what the summer brings, and listen, let's enjoy the Euros.
Yeah, let's enjoy the Euros. Let's take a break from Premier League action for a bit. Dan, how you did, my man? You good?
Yeah, same Spurs, different day. We won the game. That's what mattered. And yeah, I must admit, I did get quite a kick out of watching the Arsenal players start crying afterwards, and Declan Rice standing there trying to hold it back, but just couldn't quite hold it back. And yeah, it was quite satisfying to watch, I must admit. But apart from that, same Spurs, different day.
It's funny when other players from other clubs cry, they're weak, but when Arsenal fans cry, it's we're together, we're a family, we're one. Yeah. By the way, before we go, Murray.
No, I was just gonna say from today's games, I would say this: I'm so jealous that Man City has Phil Foden. They had Cole Palmer. Like watching young people, young talent, just make an impact on a championship season is amazing. And you hear everything about our supposed academy, and we haven't produced anybody. You see Skip come in and stuff like that. It's really, I get jealous. I'm like, I wish we had someone who was 20, 19 years old, 21 years old, that we could say, this is the future. And then the last thing I will say this about Morgan Gibbs White. Since Forest survived, what incentive does Forest have into selling their best player to us? I'm going to just throw that out there for later on when we talk about what we need.
Mari, I was jealous of one thing after today, right? When I was watching Crystal Palace and their front line, right, with Olise, Eze, and fucking Mateta, of all people, right? I honestly had the thought, I wish we had a front three like them. And we are fucking Tottenham Hotspur in 5th, and they are, with all due respect, Crystal Palace, right? I actually have a bit of a soft spot for Crystal Palace. I have no clue why. But yeah, I looked at especially like Olise and Eze, right? Mateta is on a good form, but so was Richarlison for a while. I'm not saying that Mateta is like the next, coming of Jesus Christ when it comes to strikers, right? But yeah, I watched that. I watched how fluid they were, how like free scoring they were, and I looked at our front three, and other than Son, I mean. Like, fair enough to Kulusevski, he scored 2 today, but it was a relegated Sheffield who conceded over 100 goals. Like, I mean, if you don't score against those type of oppositions, then I don't know who you are supposed to score against.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big up to William, by the way, channel member for 13 months. Thank you, my friend. So, before we get into the day's events and we discuss Tottenham and Sheffield United, I just want to give a special thank you to a group of players who mean a lot to me. I officially today stopped coaching. It's been 12 years. I've been doing it for a long time. I want a new direction now, different path. I'll go back to it in 10 years, maybe as I get much, much older. I just need a hobby. People take up gardening or they do something just to pass the time. I think I like to take over a team and just spend my time doing that. But I just want to say a big thank you to these group of players who gave me the best send-off today. They won the league title on the last day by 3 points. So, lads, big up. It was a great day that we had today. Spent the afternoon with them. Yeah, spent the afternoon with them. We had some food, some drink, and it was just a great way to finish off coaching. So, thank you, boys. Big up. That said, let's talk about a team that doesn't really win much, Spurs. back to what we do best. But, look.
Back to square one.
Back to square one, exactly. Look, today, as much as we watched our team play, we all had another eye on what was going on at the Emirates and at the Etihad, because we did our bit, right? City got the 3 points at White Hart Lane. All they had to do was beat West Ham. And at 2-0 after 18 minutes, we're thinking, yeah. And Arsenal losing 1-0 at Everton, yeah. And then suddenly 2-1, 1-1. We're all thinking, oh no, please God, no. Please, please, please. But when Rodri scored the third, we were all okay. Give a shit if Arsenal win or lose. And for us as Spurs fans, it was important because to live with that lot, celebrating something, as opposed to what they are now, they've won exactly the same as Spurs. You've won no different, even though we've had toxic Mourinho, toxic Conte, toxic Nuno, toxic Mason, toxic Stellini. You still won nothing during that, man. And now with Ange, who you call Flange, he's won exactly the same. And everyone keeps telling me it's all about trophies. I agree, but you've won nothing, Arsenal. So we went into the day one eye on that, but we also wanted to make sure we didn't finish below Chelsea, because if we finished below Chelsea, that would have been the biggest piss take in the history of Spurs for a very, very long time. A team that we've all been called the blue £1 billion bottle jobs. Imagine the blue £1 billion bottle jobs finishing above Spurs would have been, forget it. So it was an important game. What did you make of the starting lineup when you saw us against Sheffield United? We went with the same back four that we did against Man United. So I think most of us were happy to see Van der Ven at left back. Dragusin gets another start. Slight change in the midfield with Maddison going back in the 10. And that meant that Kulu came back in and the attacking three. Look, was anyone bothered by the starting lineup? Or were you just, look, doesn't matter, we're going to beat Sheffield? Would you have liked to have seen more kids play today? What was your thinking, Maury, with the starting lineup and substitutions during the game? Yeah, how do you feel?
For me, since you mentioned kids, I would have liked to see them come sooner when it was 3-0. Because, I want to see something new, but, Mikey Moore, we keep hearing about him. So I want him to get some quality minutes, things Scarlet, just last 15 minutes rather than, the minutes that they got. But the starting lineup is just, I said I was checked out. I mean, basically, I'm looking at him, okay, he stuck to what he did in the City game, having Van der Ven play out at fullback. And so, watching the game, I'm like, okay, it looks like we're going to get a clean sheet finally. So that's a big clap. We got a clean sheet. Trying to get a clean sheet.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
And so my question is, when Udogie comes back, all right, it's the front four, a back four of Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and Udogie. But I honestly, I know it's not going to happen. I would rather have a back three and have Porro and Udogie just bombing. I know that's not the plan. That's not going to happen. But I would like to see us play for back three. And Porro, especially the last two games, I'm really seeing that, man, Porro is going to be really good. He's very good going forward. That's his strength. And Udogie, that's his strength. And it's kind of like if those guys have the pure 100% freedom to go forward, and it's just the back three along with a six helping out. But then again, if you play with back three, then you definitely don't need that six. I'm just thinking ahead. Basically, when I saw the starting lineup and I'm watching the game, I'm thinking ahead of what we can do. But in midfield, Sarr, for me, I know he's a kid, he's grown up. He loses the ball for me too easily. For me, he has to possess the ball much better, and I don't think that's going to happen. Because for me, that's how I feel, that he loses the ball too easily. And then the starting line with the front three, I'm not shocked. That's the front three that I thought I was going to see, and and they did what I expected them to do. Waste some chances. Especially the 81st minute, Johnson, when Sonny just lifted. Beautiful pass to Johnson. Any competent, relaxed winger scores there. But the problem with Johnson is, even his face looks like he's afraid that he's about to shit in his pants. I think part of it's confidence, and then part of it is just he gets too excited. It's like
Mari, we'll get into Johnson. We'll get into that.
We'll get to Johnson. But that 81st minute describes our front line, which is really Johnson. Like the 81st minute, beautiful pass. Like I'm like, go. And I know we'll get to Johnson, but yeah, I mean, wasn't really shocked. I'm like, okay, this is the line that needs to be there to get the win, to make sure we finish 5th over the Chelsea $1 billion flop job.
Michael,
yeah,
flop job. So the starting lineup is what it is. We start the game, and then talk me through this. They had some good chances. There was a chance in the 3rd minute, a loose header from Dragusin. By the way, that was some poor defending by Dragusin against a pretty poor team. And then 7 minutes later, another chance, but it probably would have been offside. But it looked like Sheffield United started off much better than Spurs. And I was actually a bit worried because Matt and I, we had a debate on Friday. And I said to Matt, there's no way we're losing to Sheffield United. They've conceded over 100 goals. They don't even score on average 1 goal a game. We're not losing to Sheffield United. He's like, no, I've got this Spursy feeling. I'm like, no. After 10 minutes, I'm thinking, this isn't good. This is really bad. And then against the run of play, bang, 14 minutes, Kulusevski. Some brilliant work by Van de Ven to keep the ball in play on the touchline. Passes the ball in. Maddison, a bit of link-up play. Kulusevski arrows a beautiful shot across the goal into the bottom corner. The kind of finish we want to see from the front three. Talk me through it, Michael, the start of the game and then Kulu's goal.
Yeah, so honestly, I kind of expected Sheffield to start like lively. I think even though they got relegated like a couple of game weeks ago, and they are like honestly they were just shocking throughout the season, right? But I think considering it was a home game and it was the last game in the Premier League, I expected what was the coach's name?
Wilder?
What? Well, no. What? I don't. No, never mind. Like I expected the coach to fire them up. Basically, all the jazz of listen, boys, it's the last game. You got to show your supporters that yada yada yada, all the jazz, right? So I felt like we will have to. Listen, it honestly sounds dumb when I want to say like we had to weather the storm or whatever, because it's fucking Sheffield after all, right? But even though like it's Sheffield, they still like can create some chances, right? So yeah, that Brennan Diaz chance in the 10th minute was offside, in fact, right? So yeah, Chris Wilder. Someone in the chat said, right? But yeah. That chance was offside, but other than that, I felt like we were a bit like stressed, I would say, and I don't really know with what, honestly. And yeah, I just also like have to say something on the starting lineup, right? I know it's only a 2-game sample, but I really enjoy Van de Ven at left back. I think it does a couple of things. Like first of all, for me, he's a much more reserved fullback compared to Udogi. I know he was getting a lot forward today, but we were playing against an opposition that didn't really want to, play with a lot of the ball, right? But for me, like the key thing was that he like changed his role from time to time. He wasn't only inverting; he was overlapping a lot, which I actually liked because I feel like with Udogi, as much as he has talent, I think we kind of were a bit one-dimensional when he and Son were playing. I feel we always tried to like invert Udogi, and Son was inverting, and they were hardly ever like exchanging roles. And I feel like Van de Ven offers a lot more balance. And I feel like if we are a proper team and we actually want to utilize the squad properly, if I were the coach, I would use this type of formation against like a stronger opposition like Manchester City. I feel like we looked a lot more like secure defensively against Manchester City with Van de Ven at left back. And I feel like Udogi is better going forward than Van de Ven. And I feel like we should be using Udogi as like more of an offensive setup, right? So I have to say I liked what I saw today from the back four. And I actually, like in general, like that setup of us playing with three centre backs across the back four. Yeah.
Yeah, I listen. I agree with you. Dan, what did you make of our setup today? And do you guys agree that Van de Ven didn't invert the same way? I think you covered it, Michael, but Van de Ven wasn't inverting the way we would see Udogie invert, and I thought that was slightly better. In fact, he did the same against Man City. I don't know whether he's been told that or whether he's just knackered and he just can't do it.
Well, with it was like in the game against City when we done Van de Ven as left back, and I was one of the ones saying don't do him there because otherwise we'd just get absolutely done in the middle. But I think we look at much more solid defence with Dragoos and Romero in the middle, Porro on the right, and Van de Ven on the left. Because Udogie, if anything, his weak spot is defending. I'm not saying he's bad, but it's not his strong point. Udogie is used best as an overlapping wing back, or even you could play him on the left wing as such. Same as Porro. I feel those two players, we waste them basically with Angie's tactics of using them as inverted, because you could get so much more out of the pair of them for using them overlapping. But then you can do like we did today and get away with doing a bit of both on it. Whether he got told to do it or not, like you said, who knows? But let him do both things. Get him used to doing it at the right time and everything. I think the overlapping works a lot better. And then cutting in with three at the back when needs be, depending what sort of team we're going to be playing, whatever. And this is what I've always meant by Ange adapting to certain games and certain situations. Not have to change everything, but certain ones come back a bit more, like we did with Newcastle. But the starting lineup, nothing surprised me on there. Nothing really different to anything I could have expected on there. First 10 minutes, up until Kulusevski's goal, I was thinking like this isn't looking good, because they definitely looked more up for it than us. They actually looked better than us. We looked like we was half panicking, and the ball had barely kicked off. And then for whatever reason, the game was stopped. I think something happened, someone in the crowd or whatever, and then carried on again. But as soon as we got that first goal with Kulusevski, which was a good setup and it was a nice goal, I feel we had total control of the game after that, bar one or two moments where we got caught out the same way we do every game, but where Sheffield are just that poor, it didn't really matter.
Well, look, we went 1-0 up, and then it was just a bit nuts. We had a chance where Kulusevski should have scored a second, and this was actually an easier chance than one he scored, and the keeper made a pretty straightforward save. Then we hit the post, and then the keeper saved from Son. You're thinking, oh my God, how are we not 2-0 up? Then Porro, his shot is saved by the goalkeeper of Sheffield United. And then literally a minute later, Sheffield United could have equalised after missing a great chance of their own. And then a few 10 minutes later, I think there was another chance. Maddison again should have scored. Maddison's been poor in front of goal recently. Look, we should have really gone in maybe 3-1 up would have been fair, something like that. But it was 1-0 at half-time. And it was a bit disappointing because if you look at the stats, Sheffield United failed to score a first-half goal in 27 of their 38 games. And Sheffield United have a record of 1-0, drawn 1, lost 16 when trailing. So you're kind of thinking all the stats show that Sheffield United aren't going to get anything in the game and we're only 1-0 up. What are you making of Maddison at the moment? Because I've got to say it, man. I'm really underwhelmed by this guy. When he first came to Spurs, after 5-6 games, I was buzzing because for me, the way he would dribble, the way he'd beat a player, that performance he put in against Arsenal, the way he spun Saka to set up Son's first goal, the way he took the ball off Jorginho's feet, played in Son, I'm thinking, we've got a number 10. Like, we've got a really good number 10 for £40 million. Looks brilliant. But since those first 10 games, he looks so average. And I'm not exaggerating, but I actually think he's not the solution going forward.
Wayne,
I'm not saying we should sell him because he might be good coming off the bench because he is a good player. We know he's good.
yeah,
But he's inconsistent, man. The guy's not going to consistently.
Wayne-
Ericsson was consistent. You understand?
Wayne Holland said this. He said that he's going to flame out, especially after an injury, and I'm starting to believe that. I honestly think, and you know, I did say this in December, and I didn't get ridiculed, but people question. I'm like, I think we need competition for Madison. We need to get another number 10 because of that fear of him flaming out. As you can see, that's where I'm worrying into because we kept saying we have our set 11, we have our set 11. I'm like, no, it's not guaranteed that we have our set 11. We don't. And with Madison right now, like it's almost like he was happy to come to Tottenham, right? He's in London and whatsoever. And then after those 10 games, man, it's just been like down, levels down. And it's like, okay, the beginning of next season, all right, he'll be ready. But then as the season progresses, he's going to drop levels. And we can't have that. If for this offense to be successful, we need to have at number 10 a creative midfielder that is always going to have an engine. It's always going to have an engine on them. And right now, you know, I heard people, some person said, okay, he's become a flop. I'm not gonna say he's a flop, but I'm just gonna say that our biggest weakness is inconsistency, and that's what we're getting with Madison. He is one of those inconsistent players that we have in our squad. I lump him within that group because he's inconsistent. He's inconsistent.
That chance he had today and literally passed it to the keeper, didn't even shoot, literally passed it to the keeper. For me, that was harder to miss than it was to score because he had the whole goal option there and he literally rolled it to the keeper. Oh, that was terrible.
Even in the second half, there was a chance where the ball got squared to him 6 yards out. First time shoot. He tries to take a touch and go forward. And luckily, I think it ricocheted out and Brennan Johnson passed it and then Porro smashed it in. If you look at the goal Porro scored, it started from Madison failing to take the shot.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the play. So listen, I'm not happy with Madison. I'll say it as it is, guys. You know me. I always say it as it is. Very underwhelming. Not really doing it for me. But look, that said, 1-0 at half-time, Spurs are winning. And then literally as soon as the second half starts, Sheffield United nearly scored, but it was flagged offside. And then it was that moment that I just spoke about. An absolute bullet from Porro again. I mean, do you know what? I actually think Porro strikes the ball better than any of our forward line except for Son. I think he strikes the ball better than Werner. I think he strikes the ball better than Kulu. I think he strikes the ball better than Brennan Johnson. I think he strikes the ball better than Maddison. I think he strikes the ball better than Bentancur. Lo Celso actually has quite a good strike on him, but he's always injured. Again, Lo Celso injured today. Brilliant. I'll give up. But do you agree? Do you think Porro's he's just got a striker's? He laces the ball like a striker.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who you can relate him to. And I don't mean nowhere near the same skill or anything of the such, but
Roberto Carlos
type of flow. Yeah. Same type of player.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know, like I say, Werner is a poor man's Son. You can say Porro is a poor man's Roberto Carlos sort of thing. They play so similar.
The gap is like, Roberto Carlos is an absolute fucking goat, right? So
they play a wing back, right back, whatever they want to be. Like he basically plays the same way he did.
Yeah.
And when Porro kicks the ball, he don't just kick the ball; he follows the ball through. Basically, that ball is going somewhere. Whereas half of them, it seems like they do their foot more damage when they kick the bloody ball. Whereas he'll follow through with the ball as such. He's similar, playing the same sort of style that Roberto Carlos used to play, but I am not comparing him in skill or style of any sort. He just plays the same sort of way. And again, for me, I think we'll get most out of him overlapping him or even having him as our winger. I think you get much more out of him.
And I would honestly prefer us playing Poro as a winger than Brennan Johnson with the chances he's missing. I kid you not. And by the way, because like I think it needs to be mentioned. I think Pedro Poro has like 11 or 12 goal contributions this season for a right back. That's actually like quite good numbers, right? Compared to some of our like forward line or I think Brennan Johnson ended with like 4 goals and 10 assists, right? And Pedro Poro has like 4 goals and 7 assists, right? And it's a right back compared to right winger. I kid you, like I honestly feel like he's not like the best. He has his issues defensively, right? But I honestly feel like he's one of the most solid players that we have on this team. Because you tackled the issue of consistency with Maddison, right? I know like Poro had a few games that he was bad in, right? But it wasn't like an extended period of time, in my opinion. There were like one here, one there, similar to Van de Ven, right? Van de Ven was awful against Newcastle, but other than that, he had at least like a decent level of performance. I feel like we have the same thing with Pedro Poro on the right. I honestly really like watching this guy and what he has to offer. And yeah, like as you said, like the venom and just the power that he strikes the ball with is honestly amazing compared to some of the pea shooters that, like, listen, I don't want to harp in on Brennan Johnson too much, right? But there is no force when he kicks the ball. I don't know what the issue is, right? I feel like he kicks the ball and it doesn't look dangerous. I know it sounds like trivial, but it doesn't look as if he, like, as you said, guys, as if he followed the ball through, right? When that's the way I see it, right? When Poro strikes it, it's absolutely lovely.
I think the thing you can relate it to is fighting, i.e. boxing. There's jabbing something, and then there's punching something and following it through, basically, so you can put it on the floor. He don't just jab it like Maddison does or the others doing that. He puts the arm right through sort of thing to knock it out as such. That's the way I could relate to it. He doesn't just jab the ball sort of thing. He proper kicks it and follows through. He's got some power on him.
I just the way he connects with the ball, honestly, it's so hard for a goalie because of the power he puts behind. See, what he does is not only does he hit it with power, but it's always going up. So for a goalie, you're judging the flight of the ball and it's coming at you with such pace that even if it's slightly in the middle of the goal, it can still go in because it's just coming at a ridiculous pace.
So much
he's
power.
got some strike on him, man. He really does.
Someone posted about we're being harsh on Maddison. In
No,
his
we're not.
first year injury. No. I watched
5 years he's been like this. 5 years he's been like this.
He's been like this at Leicester City. Number one, flaming out. Number two, Kevin De Bruyne, injured most of the season, serious injury, comes back, balling. I don't want to use that excuse. If you told me, okay, the first month coming back, Madison, no, you're a professional. 5-6 months since January, nothing, Madison, nothing. Come on now, we're not being harsh. You're in a big six club. You with the big boys now. You're our big money signing. You got to be up to it. Come on now.
Ever since that injury, he's just gone off the edge. He's just gone down, and then had a moment here or there, and that's about it.
The thing is,
also
he's been like this every season, Michael. Like there's this chart on Sky Sports showing his first 19 games, his second 19 games for the last 5 years, and every single season except for one, his second 19 games for goals and assists, it almost drops between 50% to 80%. There's this massive drop off every single season, and this is what Leicester City fans warned us about. They said this guy he fades out, and he does fade out.
Alex, I get what you're saying, but our midfield has been atrocious, right? The wingers, yes, have been atrocious, but Madison's been part of that midfield, has been atrocious, giving up balls and stuff like that. Yes, I understand when you're surrounded by shit, you're gonna play like shit, But literally, Madison has not been good. He has not been good since really after since the first 10 games. Him, Basuma, right? If I'm gonna come hard on Basuma, gotta come hard on Madison. If you think he has been top, then believe what you want. But we need competition from Madison. I'm sorry. We need competition from Madison. He has not. He's not done well the last 6 months. Him,
Mari, but
Since
it's
he come back,
it's,
he's been poor.
yeah, Mari, but it's not only Madison. We need competition for various players, right? It's not as if he's the only exception, right? I would argue that we need competition for Son. We need competition for Kulusevski, right? Like we need competition for a striker. Whoever, if we bring in a striker, whoever is the striker, he needs competition, right? Because if he's shitting the bed, then someone needs to come in and take his place and actually try to perform, right? And with Madison, I don't really. Often when I look at him, there is just something about him where I like get the vibe that there is some like I don't want to say like attitude issues or whatever, right? But he just looks. When it's not going his way, he looks pissed off, and I think it doesn't help him. I think when he's playing with like the freedom that we had, for example, in those first 10 games, I felt like he had a lot less of a burden on his back, right? And I think when he's playing with the burden and also like the fact that he's coming on from an injury, right? I think like those things piled up and he didn't really recover, unfortunately, right? That's why, as you said, Mari, we need someone to challenge him for his place, right? And I was hoping that because we like decided not to sell Lo Celso last summer, I was hoping that Lo Celso would be that competition, but Lo Celso unfortunately can play a fucking game without getting injured, right? So as much as I like him, like as much as I actually think that Lo Celso has some talent, whenever he actually survived like 80 minutes of the pitch, he actually looked quite decent, right? But he just breaks down every single time, right? So unfortunately, Lo Celso is not an answer. I think we need someone to challenge Madison for his place, right?
I just want to go through a few comments in super chats very quickly. Soulboy, big up to you. He says we give the opposition too many chances. True, we do. I think we've been a little bit better recently, but you're not wrong. It's something that we need to fix. Fran, big up, under 21s. Nice to see Phillips and Divine put shifting. Do you know what? Respect under 21s, because I went to the final and we were awful, but they beat Chelsea and now they're in another final. So
by the way, Stelios, because I've seen your review, I just have to say it, a bit of context. Fulham didn't play for 9 days before the final, and we had a game like 3 days before. So there was like a bit of context, and also I think Donnelly was injured. No, Dorrington was injured, right?
Donnelly had a knock. Yeah,
Donnelly or Dorrington, the centre back, right?
Yeah, but Michael, the whole team.
I watched the game. They were absolutely dreadful. Yeah,
it was awful.
Yeah.
Steve Franz. Steve Franz, you say Lee Gunner's profiting for having 5,000 people watching him live by illogically abusing his club. You can do the same. Why would I do something illogical? If I'm going to have a go at my club, there has to be logic and substance to back it. I only go in when I can back it. I'm not going to do it if I can't back it. So I don't know what you want from me. Alex Scott, see, this is what Mari picked up on, talking that Madison has 80 goal contributions in the last 4.5 seasons. You're talking nonsense. He's playing with crap wingers. Last season, Heung-min Son had an injury and the whole fan base went after him. But now Madison has an injury. We've got to be nice. And you say that Madison has got crap wingers around him. So that means any player that plays well in this team, well, how are they doing it if they've got crap wingers? Because Son, again, I don't think Son's had a good season, but he broke a record today. Apparently, he's one of only 5 players over 5 years to get a certain number of goals and assists.
So it's 3 seasons with 10 goals and 10 assists. And I think there were only like Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard. I see the list today. There were like 6 players. He's the 6th player to do that.
What I would say is Son's done that without good wingers around him.
Yeah.
So we can't be making excuses like this. We have done nothing but slam Basuma this season. Maddison can't get away with it. He can't.
Yeah,
We've got to be fair. We've got to be fair to everyone. We praise them when they deserve it. We criticize them when something's not right. Dietrich's Kane, big up for the super chat. He says, "Can we talk about Sarr? He's so poor and useless." Listen, we'll talk about Sarr at the end because I think we might have different views on this one. Huddersfield Town FC. If Maddison had been surrounded by better players, I've just spoken on this one. Yeah. So look, 2-0. Porro with that bullet of a strike, and then 6 minutes later, Kulusevski gets a second goal. Son plays in Maddison down the right, who then puts the ball back for Kulusevski, who guides one past the goalkeeper. Listen, there's a good bit of play, but I mean, the goalie I think should have done better. Sheffield United were pretty much gone by then.
Yeah.
I mean, is this one of those games, right, where we say, do you know what? Well done, Kulu. Good job. You got some goals. Or is it one of those, Kulu, you can do against Sheffield, but against Chelsea, you were rubbish. Against Newcastle, you went missing. Against Arsenal, where were you? Is it another one of those games, guys, where we look good because the team's really bad? Or should we be praising our players more and saying, look, you can only beat what's in front of you? Where are you, Dan? Where are you at with this? Because this kind of divides fan opinion, you know?
I'm totally getting, and I'm sort of at the point now with most of this lot where I'm like, okay, you've done all right, but it's Sheffield.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few Spurs fans going on one like, yes, he banged in 2 today. Son had a crack at a day, this and that. Maddison played excellent. Yeah, we're playing fucking Sheffield United, mate. Like, all right, credit where credit's due. First goal was really good the way he placed it. I thought he kept that very good low across the floor. But yeah, that's all good. But now show up where it matters, not just against a team that is already relegated. Probably just going to try and play for a bit of dignity and pride, but already lost that through going 1-0 down and now can't even be bothered, to the point where they ended up getting a red card because of what the fella done, which was just, you could see that was just frustration. And like, okay, fair play. You can only do what you're playing against, but pull your finger out against the bigger ones. That's the way I see it with him. There's been several games where he has been anonymous, basically, and we've really needed him. Or some of the other players have been the same as well.
Dan, would you keep Kulusevski going forward? If we're being serious about winning FA Cups, Europa Cups, Premier Leagues, if that's the aspiration, is Kulusevski a player that needs to be part of the squad, or is it a player that, look, we're not doing anything with this guy? How do you feel? And then I'll bring Mari and Michael in on it.
I still don't think we play him in his best position, which is attacking midfield central or as a false 9. I mean, I've said it enough times. Sticking a man with a left foot to run it down the wing is, unless he's going to cut in all the time, which sometimes he's expected to cross the ball, well, he has to get it onto his stronger foot. But if we're not going to do him to play in his best position, I feel he needs to go, because he had a good 6 months with us, and then he has a good 3 games here, 2 games there, and then he just deteriorates again. He disappears again. I don't think it'd do no harm getting rid of him personally, especially if we're going to keep him out on the wide.
Michael, Mari, Michael, I'll come to you first. Would you keep Kulu? Would you keep him and keep playing him in the current position? Would you keep him and have him just as a squad player? Would you keep him but play him in the 10? Or would you say, look, Kulu, man, this just isn't the level that we need?
I think out of this front line, other than Son, I think he's the player that I look at and sees like at least something, right? It's because with Brennan and Werner and Richarlison, I honestly see fucking nothing, right? They are just dreadful. Like, they keep missing obvious, like, easy chances, right? You would expect me to miss those chances, right? But not them, right? And at least with Kulu, I know like his output has been really average, but I think he has his uses, in my opinion. And I honestly like also have to like big up to Dan for saying that we should be playing him in the middle. I feel like it's a better like fit for him. I think he likes playing with his back towards the goal, and it's not really natural to do that on the wing. And also, like he's so one-footed, or at least he doesn't want to use his other foot so much that I don't think the winger position is for him, right? So I would keep him, but I would honestly use him more as a like fill the gap player, basically. Like, you know, when we need to play with a false nine, I think he can do that, right? When we need to like rest Madison, or when Madison is dropping stinkers, I think Kulu can play there, right? Even on the wings, I know this is not his best position, but I honestly prefer seeing Kulusevski to Johnson and Werner on the wing, right? So I think out of the front, like out of all the attacking players that we have on the front three side of things, right? I think he's like the second least of our worries. I would put it that way.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. I'd rather drop Johnson and Werner before I drop him.
Yeah,
and that's how poor I think them two are.
You guys know my views about Kulu. I was labeled Kulu hater number one. You know, going into the next season, realistically, there's not going to be, for me, I would love right now at the price that we could probably get for him, sell him before he, because I don't think he could get any better, in my personal opinion, at Spurs. And so his price would depreciate. I think the one thing I hate about this club is we don't know when to get, like other clubs, major clubs, they're ruthless, right? After 1 or 2 seasons, they're like, this is not going to work out, especially after the 3rd season. And Kulu has technically been with us for 2 seasons and a half, right? And so, if realistically, if we're going to get rid of some people of the team, he's probably going to be on our squad, to be honest. And so, he's going to have to probably come off the bench. And if he's come off the bench, then okay, I'm cool with it. But if he's starting next season on any way, shape, or form, that's not good. That is not good for our club. We are going to regress next season. So that's my opinion with Kulu. His best position, you know, I hear you, Dan, but still the same. For me, still the same symptoms I see of processing things slow, and I don't know, man. It's just, you know, he's on the list that I would like to get rid of, but not top priority. There's other players I would love to get rid of before. So
no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There is more important ones to get rid of, basically, and one of them we're not gonna.
Yeah, so that's exactly my point, right? I don't think we will get rid of like 4 players from the forward line, right? Because if you ask me, I would sell Richarlison, Johnson, Werner, Kulusevski, and Hill, right? I would probably get like rid of all of them, but we won't, right? That's unrealistic to expect us to get rid of all 5 in the summer and to bring 5 replacements in, right? So I think like I would keep Son and Kulusevski just because they are like Son is good and Kulusevski is the least shit out of the bunch, right? That's so I know it's harsh, and I know that some people like really like Kulusevski. I actually like him too, right? And then I'm not saying like as a like what I see on the pitch, I actually like I want to see something. Maybe let's put it that way. I want to see something in him, right? That's why I would probably just keep him, right?
Well, the Kulu situation, I'm sure we'll find out this summer whether we keep or sell with a lot of players. We've gone 3-0 up, and then I was just dumbstruck. So a red card was given to Brooks for aggressively bringing down Son. Now it goes to VAR. The referee looks at it. No red card. Reverses the decision. And the commentary was saying, yeah, it's the correct decision. Not sure why he was given a red in the first place. Guys, let me play the incident. Right, let me replay that again. Just keep your eye on the right side of the screen, and you'll see Sonny.
It's a bit choppy for us. I don't know if you guys had. Oh, now it's better. Now it's better. Yeah,
It looks like he punches him in the stomach.
Yeah.
From that angle,
Right.
or he knees him.
Right. To me, guys, what it looks like, he goes over and he knees him in the midsection. Like, just bang. Yeah. Sonny then goes down. I'm thinking, what's happened here? I watched the replay 3 times. I'm like, it's a blatant red card. Look, the guy's lost his head. What did the referee see on the... First of all, what did VAR see to then revert to tell the referee, you might need to look at this again? So VAR's already thinking, we don't think it's a red. Referee, you better check again. The referee goes over, watches it, and he's like, yeah, it's no red card. He's blatantly, mate, this was ridiculous. But because it's 3-0, no one cares. Because it's 3-0, it doesn't change the outcome. We just pretend, whatever. That was an absolute joke. Like, is it me? Or did you see something different? That's a blatant red card.
I was trying to work out with my wife whether he walked up to him and punched him in the stomach or kneed him in the stomach.
It was a knee.
Yeah.
Because he twisted his body like as if it was a punch.
Because depending what channel you're watching it on, you see things from different angles, don't you? From different cameras and that. And the view I was getting, it was more of a view from behind sort of thing, where you couldn't see the angle of the player coming out. And I was trying to work out what he'd done. And whether he'd punched him or kneed him, either way. But it looked like a red card. And Son don't usually dive down for stuff like that either. He's not that sort of player. But either way, it looked fucking aggressive.
Did any of you look who's here, Mr. Daigle. Welcome, brother.
Big up, Brian. Long time no see.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing?
You've just joined us as we've got to the 75th minute of the game. We're discussing the red card, which I thought was a blatant red after watching the replay. Dan's wondering where it's a punch or a kick. Mari, Michael, where are you guys at with it? And then we'll get Brian's opinion. I was stunned that it went to VAR, let alone changing the decision.
I'll be honest. When it first happened, I actually thought Sonny flopped. I was like, they're going to give a red. And then when I looked at the replay, there was some contact. I actually thought he was going to downgrade it to a yellow, to be honest with you. Because I thought, to be honest, that it was... I've seen worse, to be honest with you. So I thought he was going to downgrade it to a yellow. But when he got rid of it, though, like, didn't give him a card at all. I'm like, whoa, wait, whoa. But VAR, I did an episode on the pitch. Is it going to be, going to vote it?
But Murray, when you say I've seen worse, it doesn't have to be horrendous every time for it to be a red. It can be just, did he kick out, punch Son, yes or no? And if he did, it's a red. Whether it's a really kind of in the face, smash your nose, or in the back of the neck, or a knee in the like. I mean, are you saying you thought it was a yellow card? Then is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I thought it was a yellow. And Daz Lear, big up. So Son was telling the ref it was not a red. I almost thought the same thing because when Son went to talk to the players and to the ref, I thought he was kind of downplaying it. I don't know, it was such a weird situation. I was shocked that he gave a red. I didn't thought it was going to be a yellow. I mean, but you're right. By the letter of the law, right? If you're going to assault someone on purpose on the pitch, I guess it's a red.
Michael, are you red card, yellow card, or no card?
Mate, I honestly have no clue what the ref was thinking there. Like, as you guys said, for me, it looked like he just either punched or kneed him in this like stomach area, or the like crotch area or whatever, right? But I feel like when Son went down, he was holding like his ankle or his like the shin pad area. At least that's what it looked like for me. And I don't know. I just have a weird like feeling that basically the ref gave a red for the stomping on the ankle area and or the shin pad area. And then they just showed him the replays, and he wasn't really stomped on that. I don't know. I have a feeling there was a weird like confusion there with the VAR. But listen, is it something new with VAR? No. Do I think it was a red? Fuck yeah. Like I don't know since when is it acceptable to just assault players. Like it's not like he shoved him or like he just shoulder barged him or something, right? It was like I kid you not, I watched Fury versus Usyk last like yesterday, right? And there were some punches that were like comically similar to what I saw today. I honestly don't know what the thinking was there. But listen, am I surprised that we didn't get it our way? Not really. Let's not get into that, right?
But Brian, before I ask you what you thought on it, I just want to quickly say to Anthony Clark, who says, you're seriously complaining about this when Maddison did the same thing, you had no problem. Anthony, when Maddison did it, if you listen carefully to what we said, go back, we said we got away with one there. That's what we said. We take it, right? If it's going to go your way, you take it. But we all agreed we got away with that. So whether Sheffield got away with it or not is not the debate. It's should it have been a red? That's where we're at. Maddison should have got a red. That's why we said we got away with it.
Everyone said that.
Blatantly.
We had a lucky one there.
Yeah, you're probably following that one account on Twitter that is just biased, and there's a few actually, especially in your fan base as well. By the way, Anthony. Okay, just saying. Brian,
yes,
was it a red? Was it a yellow? Or was it nothing?
So, you know what, I'll tell you the truth. It was so packed in the Scotland Yard, and people were all chatting and everything. I actually didn't see the incident when it actually happened. So then, when we were all trying to find out where it happened, from the replays we were seeing, it was very hard to see actually what happened. Then there were some people saying he got stabbed on his leg. Then there were some people saying he got kicked in the nuts. Then there were other people saying he got punched like Dele Alli did with Dembele. That Dele Alli did against West Brom a few years ago. And I was like, so wait a minute, why is he holding his ankle if he's been kicked in the balls? If he's been punched in the stomach, why has he gone down holding it? I really couldn't understand what was going on with it. So I didn't see any of it. All I do know is obviously he went over to VAR. The kind of thing I was getting confused about was if he'd given a red card, how comes that wasn't given a penalty? That's the bit that was confusing me, because he just gave a red card. And you're like, okay, if that's a red card.
Was it in the box? Was it in the
box? Yeah.
It was in the box.
I'm like,
it's a great point. It's a great point. It's a great point.
That's what I was confused. I'm like, why is it not a penalty?
That's what
because it was dead ball.
About.
It wouldn't have been a penalty if I'm right, because it was dead ball situation. The ball weren't in play, was it? So they wouldn't have been able to give the penalty.
Maybe that could have been it. But I was just like, so wait, this is this is what we need with obviously the rules and the VAR. I mean,
he's right.
Just quickly, all I will say is hopefully that is the last VAR decision we have to all talk about, because I hope they scrap and get rid of the bloody thing. But yeah, I just couldn't work it out. So when it comes to was it a yellow card, red card, I didn't understand the whole thing. I couldn't even tell where Son was actually made contact with from the replays we were seeing. So it's very hard for me to say, yeah, it was a red or it was a yellow, because I literally couldn't see what the actual issue was.
The thing is, it happened right in front of the ref. That's why he gave it. And then he goes to his TV screen to look from an angle that's nowhere near as good as what he saw. And then off the camera, he changes his mind. I'm like, mate, when does Son ever go to the ground hopping like that, acting? When has Son ever been known to be an actor? If it was Porro or Romero or Lamella, the dark artists, maybe they're selling it. Richarlison, you never know, right? Richarlison, you don't know. But Sonny, Really?
I think like the most stupid thing with that whole situation is the fact that, and I think like I saw some sort of a stat with like whenever referee makes a decision and VAR calls them to review the decision, they change the decision like 90% of the times. I think that like the number was absolutely staggering, right? And I think that's the most stupid thing. One of you mentioned it, right? That like the biggest issue for me in that whole situation was that it happened in front of the referee, right? In front of his bloody eyes, like 5 meters away from him. And you want to tell me that he needed to go to the VAR to see it from a different angle. Like, what is he a fucking goldfish? Does he have like a 3-second memory span or something?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does he need to see it again? Like, that's the most ridiculous thing for me, right? I don't mind. And actually, I know we've been saying that like Ange talks a lot of shit, but I actually really liked his like answer overall with the VAR. I don't think VAR as a technology, as like a concept, is a bad thing. I think the implementation is fucking horrendous, right? The way they do everything in England with, and not only in England, in other countries too, right? The implementation of the VAR is absolutely horrendous, right? And this is one of the best examples, right? The ref sees whatever he saw, gives a red, and for some reason he goes to the monitor to see it again. Like, why? If you deem the contact to be a red card, then why do you need to see it again? Especially because,
it's the people who do the VAR over here. They are so bad at it. In Serie A, it's not this bad. And in other leagues that I've seen, it is not this bad.
Yeah, that
England has
also,
got to be the worst.
It's not been bad on internet. Like I remember at the World Cup and the Euro, it's always been, and thankfully, I think that automated offside comes in next year, doesn't it? That if VAR is kept, that will make a huge difference. A huge difference. But yeah, it's definitely done better in other divisions, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, this is the worst one because when I haven't watched Serie A as much as I usually do, but still followed Inter, watched a fair few of their games and that. And when I've seen VAR get used, it's done. Takes on 30 seconds sort of thing. Whereas here, you're sitting there for about 5 minutes. You could go and get another beer and drink half of it before they've even come to the decision of what they're going to do with it. It's shocking over here. It can only be as good as the person who's using it, basically, can't it?
Yeah, I think that's the worst issue for me with VAR in England, right? We have VAR here in Poland, right? The level of the league is much lower, the money is much lower, right? But when we use the VAR, of course, like sometimes it happens that they use it for a long time, right? But it's usually like a quick decision. They only call the referees when it's actually like, you know, in motion and you know, and all that jazz, right? And yeah, it just takes too long, and they honestly like focus too much. Sometimes they focus too much on the details for me, right? In that situation, I don't really understand why VAR had to intervene, especially with the context of referee seeing it with his own eyes, right? What do they think that they had a better view? Like from the views that we saw with the camera replays, it was fucking like shit, right? You couldn't tell what was going on from the camera angle, right? So why the heck does the referee have to come over to the monitor and see the shit angle, even though he had the better angle with his own fucking eyes? That's one thing that absolutely like is ridiculous.
Yeah. When they saw him give the red cards, the angle I got from the telly, from the channel I was watching, it looked straight down from behind the goal, basically, and you saw the ref basically point at him straight away and go jogging over to him. And then from all the other angles that it showed on there, it was really hard to actually work out what had actually happened because it was so congested in there. And I agree. I think the ref, when he went and had a look at it the second time, he probably had a worse picture of it than what he saw at first.
Mate, it beggars belief. Honestly, it's just kind of gone underneath the radar because we were 3-0 up. If that was 1-1, I think this is a different conversation. But look, it happened. We won 3-0. The red card was rescinded. And then 2 minutes later, this happened. Johnson puts it over. It's a bad miss from the striker who puts his effort over from close range. And essentially, Well, look, this is where the ball was coming down. Did he hit the target? No, he missed it from the side angle. He's just blazed it over the bar. And look, I've been saying about it for a long, long time. And one second, Murray. 1 second, Murray. Big misses were 16 before this game. It's now up to 18. Against the top 10 teams, 3 goals, 2 assists. He cost the same price as Cole Palmer. Look, I'm not here to beat the guy down and pummel him and just hate his guts. Because, look, I don't know Brennan Johnson. I'm not friends with him. I'm not mates with him. I don't know his family life, nothing. I'm sure he's a good guy, right? But as a footballer, I saw this months ago. And I've just seen it just manifest. And you know what I now think is happening to him? I think he puts himself under so much pressure because he knows he's playing badly. And these misses are him unable to live up to the moment. And I just think, I don't see how this gets better for him. I personally don't. If he doesn't hit the ground running next season, like with a real bang, I think he gets, then you'll see the patience completely turn from those that defend him now. I think we've made a mistake when we bought him. I look at Foden today. I look at Saka. I look at Salah. I look at wide players, Elise, Eze. That is the caliber we need at this club. No one's going to convince me Johnson's going to get there. Do I think he'll be good if he went back to Forest? Yeah. Do I think he'll be good for Luton Town? Yeah. Do I think he'll be good in that bottom half team, battling relegation, going down, coming up? Yeah, I do. But at this level, listen, guys, man, I've seen too many of these misses from the guys.
When that first minute, literally, like I said earlier, any competent winger who is calm is going to score that goal. I think there's 2 things that are going on with Johnson in his head. And if Spurs want to fit the bill, number 1, either see a psychologist, or number 2, talk to a proven winger, Aaron Robin, or someone, right? Because I've heard, I forgot who said this. Sometimes when you play, you play fast, right? In your mind, in your mindset, you play fast, and sometimes you just gotta slow things down. I think with Johnson, really, because in that moment, he was like so fast that when he got the ball, he wasn't slow enough to get the ball at his foot, calm down, and just flick it into the goal. I just think, like I said earlier, he plays like he's about to shit in his pants. It's like, we can use all the analogies in the world. All right, you see a girl and you're about to do your thing, and you get excited, and you don't even get to enjoy your mission. I think that's Johnson, right? It's also psychological, right? Yes, it's crap, but it's also psychological because there's no way he does not score the goal there. I just think he is playing way too fast, way too nervous, and it's not good. And if he's going to start for us next season, I'm telling you now, my prediction of us finishing 8th, because Chelsea will be better. Chelsea will be better, right? Newcastle will be better. We're finishing 6th or 7th. We're going to be finishing the same place that I predicted, because that is horrible.
Johnson is not good enough, and that's basically all there is to it. Give it all you want about how he's struggling mentally or he's got low morale at the moment. Bollocks. He ain't good enough. Period. End of. He's just not good enough. But he wouldn't get in Palace team. I mean, I know they've got 2 very good on the sides and that, but he's not getting even into a mid-table team. The best, his standards, is a Nottingham Forest team.
Listen, Dan,
I don't rate him at all.
Dan, do you know what the issue for me is more than anything, right? When you spend £50 million, you want the player oven ready. Maybe they get 2-3 months grace period to settle in. I look at Van de Ven, took him 2 games, bang, £45 million. Romero, we spent 50 million, took him a month, bang. If you don't land soon for that price tag, there is something seriously wrong. right? We look at Richarlison. He's still bang average, 65 million. Brennan Johnson, we'll see the same thing next season. Sanchez, spent 42 million, crap.
But I keep getting people telling me, give him a season or two to calm down, like to roll into it and that.
That's
like,
fine.
No,
but that's fine. But the price tag needs to
not
justify
for 50.
that. Like if we spent 15 million on an Udogie, on a Vicario like we have, and they needed time, all right, I guess so. But even they landed quickly. I just feel with Brennan Johnson, what we've done is either it's the home quota rule that we tried to shoehorn him in to the club to meet the quota, or the scouts just miscalculated this one. I honestly just think we've made a mistake. It's okay. Clubs make mistakes. Arteta's made mistakes. £35 million for, who was it? That Vieira that sits on the bench. They've made a mistake. We made a mistake. Mason Mount at Man United. They made a mistake. Look, Brian, I want to bring you in because you've been someone that does defend him and who does have more patience. And by the way, you're not the only fan, Brian. I think Brennan Johnson splits the fan base in half. Where are you at with it? Are you losing patience with him yet, Brian?
Listen, what I will say is it's funny how people kind of, I'm going to go on a little bit of a thing here.
Go for it.
He did exactly the same thing when we beat Brighton 2-1 in the last minute. The only difference is he put it in the back of the net. That's the thing. It's pretty much, if you go look at it, same kind of finish to beat Brighton 2-1. People will know I have defended Johnson and I'm going to continue to. But what I will say, I've always done this fair. That missed. I had a bet on with someone at the Scotland Yard that from, I think it was the Wolves game, that he would get 5 goals and 5 assists before the end of the season. He'd got the 5 goals, 5 assists. I needed one more goal from him. And when that shot came up, I was like, oh my God, I've got breakfast for a month covered at the Yard because that's going. And it went over. I was like, oh, you bastard. I was like, now I've got to get him breakfast for the month. I said it last week when I came on and whenever I was on one of these shows with you still. I'm always a person that gives a player a pre-season with a manager. What he did today and how he played today was not good enough. I will always say that today was not good enough. He hasn't been good enough. And if I was to weigh it up over the season, even as a Brennan Johnson fan or a believer that he'll come good, can I say that he had a good season? He's got over 10 goal contributions. That's a positive, but it should have been a lot more. The positions he's been in, the chances he could have created and the cross hasn't gone in, the shots he could have converted. But I am going to give him the pre-season. I'm still sticking by it. I'm going to give him the pre-season. But like you said, I'm giving him basically, I've said still, and people will know where you and me stand on a certain subject. I've got no more time for sentimentality. If a player don't cut it in X amount of time, it's not okay. We'll let you see out your contract or put you out on loan. He's got till January to prove me wrong. And if come January window, I'm still seeing the same Brennan Johnson, I will go, right, that's it, done, get rid, cut your losses, whatever. Do I think he could possibly turn it around? Yes, I do. I do have that. And he is one player that I really... Do I have faith Kulusevski can turn it around after having a okay performance today against Sheffield United? No, I don't. Because that was Sheffield United. Can I see him playing that against the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Phils? No. And I don't think he fits Ange's system. But I think Johnson fits Ange's system better than Kulusevski does. And I think there could be a turnaround after pre-season. But he hasn't got long to prove me, to say, oh my God, I'm so happy I backed him. He's done it. He's walking a tightrope and he's got to get his head down this summer. Thankfully, Wales didn't get to the Euros, so he can go have his holidays, come back and start pre-season with the rest that start early. And he needs to work on decision-making, final ball, first time. There's stuff he has to work on, but there's assets he has got. So I am going to give him the start of next season. But he is finishes like that he missed today, and he has missed more often than not like that. He needs to convert that to more yeses and nos for sure. He's on a shoestring with me, so to speak. But I am going to give him this pre-season.
Michael, what about you?
Yeah, so first of all, because as you said, he splits the fan base, right? And I criticize him because I want to see better, right? And I always say this, other than like a couple of players from Spurs, it's I'm never against the person, right? I'm against what they are doing on the pitch, right? So if Brennan Johnson shuts me up next season and starts banging them in, I will be more than okay with that, right? As I said, like, it's nothing against him personally, right? The only players I had something personal against were probably Ndombele and Dyer and like maybe 2 others, right? But I want him to shut me up, basically. But I have to point out his mistakes, right? And Brian, you said about the bet you had with like 5 goals, 5 assists, right?
Yeah.
Stelios pointed out he has 18 big chances missed this season,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't take him converting, like, I don't, like, I wish he converted 100% of them, right? But even if he converted like 25% of them, he would be sitting at like 10 goals, 10 assists this season, right? And those are good numbers for a winger in the Premier League. Not like top level numbers, right? But good numbers, right? Like, there are plenty of good wingers in the league who have like 10 goals, 8 assists, or, 7 goals, 12 assists, or whatever, right? So he needs to iron this out, right? But until he does it, then I will be criticizing him, right? Because it's not good enough. And honestly, like, some of the misses, like this one today, I think he missed the same chance like a couple of game weeks ago.
Yes.
I don't remember against who, but it's honestly infuriating because we criticize this system for not being creative enough, but then you look at Brennan Johnson missing 18 big chances and you just think to yourself, what if he had a winger who is better at scoring, or if Brennan Johnson was better at scoring, right? What then? And that's why I can just ignore the fact that he's missing those chances, right? So yeah,
I think the problem with Johnson is he might even well have it physically. He might be able to have the skill to do it. Personally, from what I've seen in players, and I can only judge by what I see. Like you said, it's nothing personal, but I don't think he's got the mentality. I think he's one of those players where as soon as it goes wrong once or twice, his tail goes in between his legs, his head goes down, and he needs a lot of tender, loving care before he'll get his act together again. I don't want that player at my club. Sounds harsh as, sorry, I really don't care. I want my club to actually start winning things, not having to TLC to a player just because he missed a bloody chance. And that's how he portrays himself to me. Other people might see it different. Other people might think I'm being harsh, but life's a bitch.
The other thing I'll just very quickly put in with Brennan Johnson, and you got to remember, players are always going to divide unless they're the superstars that are doing the business. There's certain players that are always going to split opinion. What I will say for Brendan as well, as a kind of thing for him as well, is he's not had one set striker that has played with him for like 20, 30 games. It's been either Heung-min Son, who looks out of place as a striker, and we know that, and it's been discussed. Richarlison, he started building a bit of a relationship up, and you can see there's a connection growing there. Then he gets injured. He's played on the right, he's played on the left. He's been used. Listen, like I said, I am giving him pre-season. Does he need to up his game? 100%. Without a shot. And that's me who's trying to defend him. Will I accept
200%?
Will I see, Dan? This is the thing, mate. 100, whatever it is, he just needs to up it. He needs to up it. We can all say 500%. He needs to double, whatever that is. You know what I mean? He needs to set the ball rolling and show this is why. And you know what? I think it was Michael Murray that said it as well. When you're playing under pressure so much like that, you're thrashing chances. You're taking an extra step when you shouldn't have, or you're thinking, should I place it or power it? I think he's lacking total confidence. But like I said to you, go back to that game where we beat Brighton 2-1 in the last minute, and that ball came across. I can't remember who it was from, maybe even Werner, and he put the ball in the roof of the net. He could have easily skied that one. And again, then we're talking, that was it still 18 chances you said he's at now. It could have been 19, but it was a very, very similar chance. with Brighton, he did it in the 95th or whatever minute. This was 75th minute when we're 3-0 up. Yes, it would have been great to get the goal. He needs to improve. He needs to improve.
I'll tell you what he needs to do. I'll tell you what he needs to do, and that's play a game. I think out of the whole time I've seen him play, I can name, count me if I'm wrong here, but one game where you've actually seen him for 70 minutes of the game. As all I've actually seen him do is have a moment here or there and you see him for 5 minutes. And the way he has actually improved is now and again I see him for 10 minutes, not 5 minutes. I can only think of one game where he's been alive in that game for 70 minutes of the match. I understand that there's going to be points where you go quiet in a game, whatever else. I mean, the only one who's got the right to be quiet for 90 minutes and not do anything as long as he does his job properly is a striker or a goalkeeper. But can anyone name more than one game where he's actually been involved in the match for a majority of the game?
Do you know what it is with Brennan Johnson, right? It's my same issue I got with Timo Werner. You've got to be able to beat a player. You've got to be able to put a cross over the top, put a cross on the ground, and you've got to be able to square a ball, and you've got to be able to score goals, a variety of them, tap-ins, long range, and beat a man and score. If you've got the majority of that, then I think you've got what it takes to be a forward in a team that's ambitious. I don't think Werner's got that. I don't think Kulusevski's got that. I don't think Brennan Johnson's got that. And from what I remember of Solomon at Fulham, I don't think he's got all of that either. And then I look at the attacking midfielders. I don't think Lo Celso's got all of that. And I don't think Maddison does my head in. But I just feel he's another. Do you know what? Here's a question. Would this be as much of a problem if Kula was firing, Werner was firing, Solomon was fit and firing, Richarlison was firing? Is this problem even bigger because they're all doing it?
Yeah.
As in,
but
not playing to the levels we want.
The issues amplify themselves, right? So if we, I think even Ange mentioned it in one of his pressers. He said that he never expected Brennan Johnson to play as much as he does, right? Which implies that he wasn't supposed to be a starter, right? But the issue is that other strikers or wingers were shitting the bed or were injured, so he had to play, right? And this is the reason why we saw as much of Brennan Johnson as we did this season, right? And you know when will this be an issue? When we are in a, I don't know, quarterfinal of an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, it's 1-0 to Chelsea, and this chance falls to him and he blazes it over the bar. Then I want to see the reaction of the fan base, right? Because I think a lot of the fans like tend to be light on him because like as much as those games like matter, they don't like really matter. It's not like we are fighting for a title or fighting for a trophy, right? And this is the issue. This is why we have to keep pointing out that there are issues in this front line, and especially with like Brennan Johnson and Werner and Richarlison, right? We just need someone to be fucking clinical in front of the goal, right? Because if it's not Son, then I think I said it once and I honestly mean it. I have more confidence of Van de Ven, Romero or Porro scoring in front of the goal when they get given a chance rather than Johnson or Werner, right? That's honestly mad to think about, right? But I think those players strike the ball better with more venom, with more precision than some of the guys that we have in the front line, right? And this is the issue. Unless they sort this out, then they have to be either moved on or be relegated to the bench, right? Only to be the impact player. Because if we are, as I said, if we are playing next season in a Carabao Cup semi-final against United and we are losing 1-0 and he fluffs this chance, then the narrative will be much different, right? Because right now we can be patient when we are playing Sheffield United last game of the season, 2-0 up, and we can point out the mistake and many people will say, oh, give him time, whatever, right? And then, sorry, I'm not going at anyone saying that, right? But like, this is the opposing view to ours, right? And in this like circumstance, it is this way, right? We don't really care after all with the result, but when it comes to like the crunch time and we are actually fighting for something, then we need someone who will actually take the chance.
Well, look, again, another player we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the summer, what players come in to challenge him and whatnot. It finished 3-0 in the end. Spurs finish above Chelsea. We get Europa Cup. The match stats ended. We dominated possession like we do with most games. We had 18 shots to 6, 9 on target, 91% passing accuracy, 3 clear-cut chances, the kind of stats we were used to seeing at the start of the season. And that leaves us in the Europa Cup spot. So in terms of the league table, if I quickly bring it up, taking into consideration all the other teams that played today as well, Spurs do finish 5th above Chelsea, like I've said. And the champions are Manchester City. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Arsenal, again, bottling the title, coming 2nd, winning nothing like Spurs. Liverpool 3rd. So the Champions League final spot goes to Villa. They were on the beach today. They didn't really have to do much, and they got battered by Crystal Palace. What a great job Oliver Glasner's doing. It has to be said, he's doing phenomenal at Crystal Palace. Let's see if he can keep his best players, though, and how he performs if they go. But my first question is this. Are you guys happy with Europa Cup on the basis that if you're an economist and investment banker, you're not going to be happy because you want the money of Champions League in the hope that you buy more better players with that money, which we've never really done. And when I checked today, we're linked with £15 million Suzuki, no joke, from Japan. This is kind of, I don't know whether this is a meme or this is real.
It's genuine. It's genuine still.
Yeah. It's
very, 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 very genuine.
Fantastic. There's the competition for Brennan. Can't wait. But that said, are you, like I said, happy with, are you unhappy because we're not going to have the money? Or are you actually happy on the basis that realistically we've got a better chance to win the Europa Cup? And if you look at the pool, I've managed to pull up the expected teams. Spurs, I'm just looking to see what pot we're in. We're in pot one.
First spot, yeah.
So I mean, when I look at this, the only teams that really worry me, Roma, Porto, probably Real Sociedad.
Fiorentina plays good sometimes when they play real good.
Newcastle United.
Athletic Club, they are not bad.
Athletic Club.
Don't forget Mighty Robbie. Don't forget Mighty Robbie Keane, who's just won the league, is in there. Mighty Robbie Keane.
I mean, out of those Italian ones, personally, I think you've got to watch Fiorentina more than Lazio, but that's personal opinion.
Yeah. Roma.
Well, hold on. Aren't Fiorentina in the final?
Yeah, they're in the conference.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if they win, that's Europa. Well, look, when you look at this, guys, is there anyone here that on our day you fear going head to head with, as in we're going to get absolutely battered here? Because for me, if we bring in some decent players and fix the front line and just get a bit of a commanding player in the midfield, I think this is a much more realistic chance of winning a competition. Whereas Champions League, if you showed me Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Man City, I'm thinking, listen, it's only a matter of time before we get battered by someone and we're out, right? So where's everyone at? Look, Mara,
I'll quickly go here very quickly because I'm happy because Dan is right here, and Dan will know I came on one of his shows about 3 months ago and said I was saying this, that I want Europa League rather than Champions League about 3 months ago. Not
both agreed on that.
I was saying it from get-go because I don't think we're ready for Champions League. Which is
Brian, sorry, just the Spurs fan. Next season, teams don't drop out of the Champions League into Europa. They've changed the rule.
No, that's it.
Just
it.
This is the biggest point. The thing that just
so like I said, I think that's our level. I think this summer we get to learn a lot more, and hopefully Andrew will get another full season and get the blah blah blah, and then we'll be ready for the Champions League. I don't want to go just in the chat. I've been saying it on Dash. I said it very first on Dash Channel. What do we want Champions League for? So here's some funky music. Here's some money. Have the tills rigging again. More money go in the skyrocket at Levy, and then we don't buy Champions League players. But I have to say, what I will say about this Japanese player. Now, I'm not talking just about this Japanese player from Bromby that we're linking with. We knew that this was going to happen. We all said when Ange came, His expertise is the Australian market and the Japanese and the Far East market. And listen, I think this is going to happen anyway, even if we've got Champions League. Listen, it's not going to be the same comparison, but when Arsene Wenger first came to Arsenal, no one knew who he was. No one knew who Vieira was. No one knew who Petit was. No one knew who Anelka was. And Arsene Wenger smashed it with the young French people, because no one had a Scooby-Doo what was going on. Now, I'm not saying
The
that
only
these
one that was
players
known
we're
was
looking
Henry,
at,
wasn't it?
I'm not saying that these players that we're linked with from the J League are going to turn out to be the next Son or Kim Min Jae or whatever. But we have a manager that knows that market very, very well. And it was always going to happen that we're going to get some players from the Far East. Listen, when we signed some from Bayer Leverkusen, I didn't have a Scooby-Doo who he was. Not a clue. Not a clue. When we signed Berbatov you're going to get players you don't know. I'm not saying that they're all going to turn out to be like Arsene Wenger did with his French market, but the Asian market and the Australian market, we were always going to target, whether we're being the Champions League or the Europa Cup. But I like I said on Dan's show, the Europa League is where we're at.
Yeah,
The Champions League will be humiliated.
You said this 3 months ago, if not more than that, on my show, and we had a chat about it, and I agreed with you. I think out of that lot there, the main one you got to watch out for, their personal opinion, I'd say, is Roma. Lazio, here and there. The only reason they got a draw today is because they'd already done their league. Ajax really don't look nothing to be bothered about. I'm not saying don't underestimate anyone. That's how you get yourself shot. But the only ones there that I could state that should, on paper, be able to give us a run for our money, if not beat us, is Roma. The rest of them, we should be able to take care of that. But what should and what is are two different things.
You know, Stelios,
Michael, let me. I just want to read this quickly. Quick super chat from Savvy.
Sorry.
Says, "Yeah, that's cool." Big up, Savvy. Says, "I'll be honest with you. You're not the best looking boy band I've seen, but I've also seen worse. Thank you, Sava. P.S. So glad this season is finished." It's good to finally end it. It's been too much up and down. Can I just say one thing about Suzuki, right? Whether he's good or not, is this why we built a £1 billion stadium, guys? No. Is this why we did it? See, this is where this is my gripe. This is my issue. What was the point of this stadium?
When we built that £1 billion stadium, we didn't know we were going to get an Australian manager. But I know what you're saying. Believe me, I'm with you where it goes, I want to expect better and I demand better, and we should be paying for better because what we've got and what we're achieving off the field, we should be able to go out and buy them. But there was always... Brian,
this summer, okay, Arsenal are on the brink. They're so close to winning a league. They're getting closer each year, right? If this summer, all of us here see Isak go to Arsenal, a proven Premier League striker, and we see Suzuki come to Spurs, how are you justifying it? Like, how are we going to sit here and go, yeah, man, we're gonna make some waves next season, you know?
Because Johnson's going to get better.
You never know, Dan. Maybe Suzuki needs Johnson like Johnson needs Suzuki. There you go. That's the new Son and Kane partnership.
I also saw the reports this morning that, we're still in for Jimenez.
Suzuki and Johnson.
Yeah.
I saw the reports saying that we're in for Gallagher and Jimenez. My opinions on Gallagher. I'm not like, whoa, Gallagher. But Jimenez, we could bring him in, that's an improvement. I know he's coming from the Dutch league, but he's bagged so many goals, but it's not going to come good. I'm not shocked about Suzuki because when we got Edge, we said he's going to look all over the world and unearth talent from Far East Asia and somewhere Eastern Europe or somewhere, So I'm not shocked. To tell you the truth, I'm not shocked the type of players that we're going after. We will not go after, Juventus just fired Allegri, so we're not going to go after, like a Vlahovic or Chelsea or I mean, we're not going to go after those type of players. You look at Kudus, who scored a beautiful goal today.
What
You
the
know,
goal?
extraordinary. Right? You think that'll be our level, right? But we don't even sign a Kudus. We don't even sign a Kudus.
Mari, with
guys,
Kudus, right?
Look at the
Yeah,
gap.
go on,
Michael, look at the gap. Look at the gap. Right? 66 points. City are at 91. That is a 25-point gap difference. We are 23 points off Arsenal. Right? We are... What are we challenging here, people? What are we? And this is, and we're playing one game a week. I think we've got to get real. I think as a fan base, we have got to get real. And I think Ange needs to get real with his comments. If he thinks we're going to challenge next season, you can't be taking a risk on a player that is never played in a top league.
Yeah.
You know, he plays for Genks and Brombies. We need proven talent, man. Established players. They don't have to be the best in the world, right? But if we're not buying Elise level, Eze level, Van der Ven level, how do you improve? I don't understand this.
Another thing I want to add to this one, yeah. A lot of people are saying, me agreeing with it to an extent, 5th place, yeah, good start. Okay, forgivable. Yeah, we could have quite easily got 4th place if he'd have pulled his finger out and decided to make a few changes in earlier games, but that's a different bit. My question is with it, though, is this season a bit of a lie in the aspect of that we finished 5th place? Why did we finish 5th place? Did we finish 5th place because Ange done that much of a good job, or did we finish 5th place because Newcastle, Chelsea and Man U were that shit?
Yeah, but so what I would say to that, and then I want to bring in Michael because I cut him off earlier. I would say Man United and Newcastle struggled because they had to play twice a week and they both got a lot of injuries. Whereas we got a lot of injuries. Had we have had Europe as well, we would have collapsed. I think we managed to navigate our injuries better than those two because we didn't have to worry about Europe and we crashed out of all the cups early. I think the fact we only had 41 games this season meant that we managed the injury crisis better than those clubs. Those clubs were in the mud. They just couldn't handle it, and it just made them worse and worse. I think that's what it came down to. The fact that Spurs weren't in Europe is why we got 5th, in my view.
I can quite easily go with that. It's something that's been crossing my mind. Did we get 5th because we deserve 5th place, or did we get it because others were just that poor? But what you've said there, yeah, I can accept that. Makes sense.
I mean, go on, sorry.
No, go.
Yeah, I would argue we deserve 5th place because we got 5th place, right? That's the way I see it. I know the circumstances for each team were different, right? I know that Newcastle, and United had a bigger game load on them, right? But in the end, the table finished the way it finished, right? And I honestly have to say I am thrilled that we are in the Europa League. I think it's a competition with great history. And we have some history in it, actually, right? And in a different version of it, right? With a different name, but we actually won it twice, right? And I think there is this weird attitude towards the Europa League that it's like some sort of a Mickey Mouse Cup. I think it's really enjoyable. There are some big teams in there still, right? Not as big as in the previous years because of the new format, but I actually want us to take this bloody cup seriously. I swear to God, if any Spurs fans think that we are above this competition, give your head a fucking wobble, right? I don't care. I would even want us to take Conference League seriously, and I'm not screwing around with that, right? And the only issue I have, because the list you've shown, Stella, I think it was created a week or two ago. The issue is that instead of Newcastle, there is one certain club in there that always turn into fucking Terminators when they play against us, and it's Chelsea.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know, man, when I look at
But they do have Poch, and Poch does have that bad habit of doing crazy things when it matters in finals and semis. So you never know. Right? You never know.
You see, the other thing with the Europa Cup is I think it's if I say peak, maybe that's the wrong word, but I think it's at the highest it ever has been. It's the closest now that it ever has been to when it was the UEFA Cup, for instance, because now there's actually something worthwhile playing for it, and that's that you get in the Champions League with it.
Yeah.
It's actually worth playing for the cup now if you know you're going to struggle for a top 4 place. There's actually more. There's a good reason to win it as such. Whereas before, they're just a lot of clubs just didn't really take it seriously because what was the point of it? But then us being Tottenham, what right have we got to say that to any cup, seeing as we haven't won nothing in about 15, 16 years? But I think at the moment, the cup is on its highest point that it has been so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they've slowly over time, they've aligned it. I think creating the European Conference League has got rid of the real crap out of the Europa Cup, and not allowing Champions League teams to drop down has now made the Europa Cup something that teams who might have thought, do you know what, we're in it, great, but we're not going to win it because the Champions League will drop in. Now they might take it a lot more serious, knowing we're not going to have to we're not going to have to play a Champions League team now.
Like UEFA used to be, like the UEFA Cup used to basically
exactly.
be, and then you had the Cup Winners' Cup as well, didn't you? Yeah, I think they've managed to basically level it up with that now, and there is a solid reason to win it. Plus, I feel you get more credit for winning it now. For instance, well, I just feel the cup is at the highest it's been, and now would be a perfect time to go and win it.
Can we have a quick chat about Pape Sarr? Because Dietrich's came put in a super chat earlier on saying, can we talk about Sarr? He thinks he's poor and useless. And then he put in another super chat just now saying we can't win in Europe playing Ange's way with Sarr. So what's your thoughts on Pape Sarr? Do you think he's been overhyped? Do you think that we just need to calm it down with him? He's still a kid. Do you think he's developing in the right direction? It's a difficult one because he is still young and we can't just suddenly expect him to be Moussa Dembele or Victor Wanyama and whatnot. But at the same time, I do feel sometimes fans are putting him on a pedestal. And normally when we do that, it comes crashing down. Look, my personal view is this with Sarr. I don't think he's amazing. I don't think he's crap. I like his energy and I like the way that he can spread the play, but I don't see us winning a league title or a Europa Cup with him in the midfield. I don't think he's quite there yet.
He scares me when he's on the ball. Even when the first 10 games, where we saw his engine, we're like, okay, it's doing good. But if you really look at those first 10 games, when he's on the ball, and even after the 10 games, he loses the ball too easy for me. And for me, I've always had this belief, when you're good on the ball, you're good on the ball. When you have it, you have it, right? It's kind of hard to really improve in that, in my opinion. And so for me, it's like, of course, I want him on the squad, but to start, for me, I'm gonna say it again, like Kulu, right? If he come from the bench, great, all right, because you have to have, you need to have players on the bench. You gotta have a squad, but for starting, for me, he's just not good on the ball, and even today, easy game against Sheffield, I'm scared when he's on the ball. I feel that he loses it. And for me, like you mentioned, the Dembeles, like we need a player like that in the midfield who's good on the ball, progressing from the backfield to the midfield to the front line. We need someone like that. And so that's my view on Sarr. Like, and it's not because of his age. There are young players at his age who are very good on the ball.
Michael, this is the first season of Ange. People call it a transitional season, new system, new way of playing. Players need to adapt and be given a chance to settle into this new way of playing. Sarr's obviously one of those players, plus he's young. So it's all fairly new. what's his best position for you? And do you think he's ready to be a first teamer week in, week out?
So I don't think he's ready to be a first teamer. I think his best position is box to box. Unless he because the guy is tall and he's quite strong and runs a lot, right? But I don't think he has this like strength and like edge to be a number 6, to be that destroyer. Listen, as I said, he's 19. He can grow into that player, right? Because he's in that like time of his life where in like 2 or 3 years he can be built like a fucking Terminator and and keep just destroying people in the middle, right? But right now, I don't think he's at that point, right? And I think not to the same level of like performances, right? But I think the reason why he played as much as he did this season was because some of the midfielders kept dropping stinkers or were injured. I think if like Bentancur and Bissouma were playing like on a consistent basis and weren't injured in case of Bentancur, or just playing bluntly being shit like Bissouma for quite a long period of time, I don't think Bissouma would be playing as much. And I think it's really strange, right? Because even you said it, Stelios, right? That young players, the best you can do to develop them when they are like growing into the men's football is to play games, right? But it's kind of, for me, the case where Johnson and Sarr played a bit too much, right? And were a bit too exposed because of that. And right now, I think we are treating them as like first teamers and we are criticizing them as much as first
Johnson's
teamers.
not a kid though, Michael. Johnson's 23.
Yeah, right. So like, that's why I'm a bit more lenient with Sarr, right? And I think
Sarr's younger.
I think there is a player there. I personally think there is a player there. I think plenty of people are overhyping him way beyond like everything and saying that he's already like a first teamer and he's the next Moussa Dembele or whatever. Calm it down. There is no need to do that, right? I think he's a useful player. I am more than happy to keep him in the squad, and I am more than happy for him to start some games. But I think he is not at the level yet to start all the games and to be the first teamer and to be the the guy to lead us to something, right? I think there is time for him to grow. But if that's the case, then we need to have better midfielders in front of him, right? Because if we have Bissouma who keeps dropping stinkers and Bentancur who keeps getting injured and doesn't, get his groove together after the injury, and we have Højbjerg who is just not good enough and Skip who is just not good enough for the system, right? Then Sarr has to play as much as he did, and I don't think it's the way to go for him and the way to develop. That's how I see it.
Brian, let me segue onto other youngsters, okay?
Okay.
So Sav's put this super chat in, which I want to jump on, and then I want you to tell me what you think, because I know you often talk about the youngsters at our club.
Yeah.
Sava says, can we talk about Ange giving our kids 2 minutes today? 3-0 up against a relegated team, and he brings on Skip, Højbjerg and Royale. Just shut the academy. So what I would say to this is, Sava, I did a show on it. I've said it many weeks. I've been banging on about it for a while. I spoke to Simon Davies, the academy director, and I heard it from his mouth. He does not believe the under-21s are ready. He doesn't believe they're ready to play in our first team. Ange agrees. But there's coaches that coach the players that disagree and think that some of them should be given a crack at it. I personally feel this isn't going to change, not under Ange, because one, when we were 4-0 up against Newcastle, that was the time to give him a run out. He didn't do it. He's done it again now. We're 3-0 up against a relegated team, as you said, which I agree. He hasn't done it again. There's no time left now, because next season, if we're going for a title, how do you develop youngsters? You need to win games. You haven't got time to develop, because when you develop youngsters, you might have to take some hits along the way. If we were going to finish 8th 2 years in a row like Arteta, but bed in the youngsters during that process, and then by the 3rd year when you go to 5th and you move up the table, those youngsters have been developed and you see which ones survive. Don't forget, Arteta brought through Maitland Miles, Willock, Nketiah, Smith Rowe and Saka. He brought through quite a few. Only 2 have survived. But that's what happens. You give them all a chance. Let's see where it goes. And the ones that stand out, the ones that make the jump from youth football to adult, they survive. The rest, just sell them or loan them out. Sometimes you get it right. Sometimes you get it wrong. Spurs have missed that boat because now we're going for next year. You know, we're challenging for the league title. I'm telling you, these kids are not playing for Spurs next season. The only one you might see play for Spurs next season, guys, is Bergvall. And he's not one of our own. We brought him in. He's the only one you will see next season play maybe regular minutes. That's my take on it. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I've heard from the club. And the manager after Ange, maybe that's when you'll see youngsters come through because then they would have had 4 or 5 years of Simon Davies' new philosophy. Maybe that's when it will happen. But I agree, man. Shut the academy down. I don't get it. It's just literally there for show and to make us feel good about the club. Let me let Brian speak on it, Murray, and then I'll come to you.
No, I just want to say, when you said that we're challenging for the league, you mean that's what Ange thinks. That's not what you think, because I'm looking at the chat.
No. Yeah. No, that's what Ange said. But before Alistair Gold broke that story, I said it on this channel 3 weeks before because I heard it from the club. The club said to me because
no. I'm talking about challenging for the league. Like you don't believe.
Yeah, Ange said that.
Yeah,
of course
Ange
we're not challenging. Listen.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, because in the chat they're like,
no. We're going to challenge
25 points gap.
We're going to challenge. We're going to challenge for the league once we sign Suzuki. I heard it. I heard it from the club, right? Because I said to the club, "Are we going to see some youngsters break through into the team now?" And they said to me, "Mate, the club want to challenge for the league, so we highly doubt it." So I'm seeing it play out in front of me. I'm hearing it from inside the club. Nothing's happened to prove me otherwise. Next season, I think it becomes even harder for these youngsters. But the only one that I said will come through, maybe, is Bergvall, because they spent big money on him. So the rest, listen, the Mikey Moores, the Scarlets, they might get 5 minutes every 30 games. That's it. The Donnellys, the Dorringtons. And I went with Graham and JP. We went and saw the under-21s the other night. I'm telling you, nobody on that pitch stood out. Nobody. So, Brian, look, I want you to talk about this because I know you talk about this subject a lot. I've given everyone my piece on it, but...
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what I also is to have a super chat is, for me, I agree that I'd rather the youngsters, big up Alex, brother, I'd rather the youngsters get more minutes. I've always said I'd rather the foundations of the future get minutes rather than the players that are obviously on their way out. Emerson, Højbjerg, and whoever came on with them before Scarlett and Mikey Moore, to me, that was just a goodbye. Go get some minutes, wave to the fans, you're gone, say goodbye. This is sympathy minutes, let's call it. They're gone, in my opinion. But the thing that gets me with the youth system at Tottenham is we've bought Bergvall, we know, like you just said, will come in. I'll give you an example like Vuskovic, who's 16. We keep doing this where we sign players, signed by a manager and a youth development team, and to say, right, this is our ethos, this is our way we're going to play football. But every single time this youth team that the manager has bought gets to around the first team, that manager's gone. And it's a different style of football, and it's a different way of playing. And these guys, and we have this problem with the first team as well. We have this problem with the first team. Mikey Moore, for anyone that's been watching youth or doesn't watch it, is a very, 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 very special talent. A very special talent. He's been wanted by everyone. And I'm getting very, very concerned that we're going to try and rush his progression. I'm very, like Stel said, Stel, I was with you before I came back to Toronto, wasn't I? I came with you to the training ground and saw it.
I took you there. Yeah.
And you could see it. The setup and everything is all good. I just can't see how they break through. And Dan will say again, when I was with Dan and I started speaking about Europa, and like Stel mentioned, with Ange wanting to go for the league, well, that means we're going to have a major summer and bring in huge amounts of quality, which I don't think we are as slightest. But then if we do that, that's when your Pape Sarrs, your Johnsons, I want to see in the Europa League. Because if they're not going to perform in the Premier League, I don't want to see them around the team. You've got the Europa League. Say, right, go perform. Go show. we're doing this. We're taking domestic and the league seriously, whether it be the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. This is where you're going to bleed in. And I'm talking fringe and youth players. Of course, we know there's going to be a few first team regulars that play in that Europa League. But as I was saying on Dan's show, I mainly want that to be, especially away games, fringe players and some youth with a couple of first teamers established to go get your minutes, go prove yourself, because apparently we're having this big challenge for the league or to compete, but that means we're going to have a ridiculous summer, which I will tell you now, because just remember, everyone, before I go back to the youth, the season ticket deadline cuts off 5 p.m. tomorrow. So all those big rumours that Gallagher's imminent, bid coming in, you watch, by 5:05, those deals will go quiet, because everyone's got to get their last minute season ticket renewals in. Happens every single year. It will happen again. We're in a rut. We've actually got, for once, a decent crop of youngsters coming through. So you've seen, like I said, they may not have done well when you went to see them against Fulham, but compared to what we've had recently, where it's been your Winks, your Skips, your Kanes, there is actually a crop of them.
The under 18s are better than the 21s, I'll tell you that. And the current batch of 12s to 14s, by the time they hit 18, 19, they would have had 6 years of Simon Davies. That's the group to watch out for. I'm telling you, that's the group. But Andrew won't be here then. So Andrew won't be here.
Exactly. That's the problem, because I want to see Andrew finish his contract. Do I think he'll finish his contract? No. And then what happens to people like the Bergvals who play the attacking football, and then we bring in because we're bringing another defensive manager, and it'll be like
no. They've told me the one thing they will do after Ange, the manager will be a progression of Ange, so it will be the same style. They're not going to go
so.
defensive. Let's see what they say and what they do. I'm just telling you what they say.
Remember when we were told that we're going to go bring an attacking style of football back, and then we went and hired Nuno and Conte. That was after we were told we're getting back to play the Tottenham way.
The Spurs way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when the clubs say it, I find it very I hope they can only prove us right. But whenever they've said that, things have not happened. Like I said, I think the crop of youth coming through, and people will know how long I've been speaking about my boy Alfie Devine and how much I love him. I just hope they get their breakthrough. I hope we spend this season at the beginning making sure we had a pathway clear for them. And like Sava said, going back to where the super chat was, there's been a pathway. They haven't been performing this season. Would I have rather seen, rather than trying all different midfield combinations that weren't working and not giving Lascelles minutes, would I have liked to have seen a Jamie Donnelly there? Yes, I would have. And if he had got 45 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever, and they'd have said, I hate these people that go, oh, it might crush his confidence. It might really ruin him. It's like, he's a man playing football. He's going to have good days and bad days. But you want to call me negative for what I think about Levy? Why are you negative? I can give you loads of youngsters that have come on, made their debut and excelled. Why is it if Jamie Donnelly starts a game or comes off the bench for half, he's going to have a bad game? He could have come on and lit the house on fire. But we'll never know because we never try.
And this is it. This is what I've always said about young players. You never know until they get a chance. I mean, look, if Harry Kane never got a chance, we'll be sitting here with bloody Soldado and Adebayor for another half of the season, right? So, Alex, how you doing, brother? You all right? Thanks for coming on.
No, I'm good. It's I didn't watch the game. I was more interested in Man City. What was going on Man City and Arsenal. If I'm really honest, I saw the highlights. It looked okay, but to be honest with you, we're not going to learn anything from this game. Let's be honest here. I still feel at the moment, and I said it on We Are Tottenham TV. I've been feeling like this for quite a while. I just don't think this guy is going to be here next year. I don't think he'll be here next year at the end of the season. I think he'll walk. I think the expectations of this club and his expectations are just completely different. I just think it's just not. I just see similar patterns, and it doesn't matter what we buy. For me, at the moment, I don't agree with what people are saying. If he goes in 2 years, I think he needs to be here for 4 years. I think he needs to be here for 4 years because I think this whole ethos needs to be settled in, regardless what happens. He needs to be here for the full 4 years, and I just don't see that at the moment. I think he's going to get so frustrated that he'll just walk, and that's it for me. You know, I think it sums it up. When I saw, if you see his interview, pre-match interview, and he talks about Celtic, you see his face just completely light up when he talks about Celtic. And to me, that looks like a guy that when he's at Celtic, they've got that expectations that match him straight away. Yeah. When
But if he's successful at Spurs, Alex, won't he light up as well when he talks about Spurs if he's successful here? He's only saying that because he was successful.
You got a good point. I think it's like, for me, I think it said it all on Tuesday. It said it all on Tuesday. And I don't think he kicked off just because of that fan. I think he was gagging to kick off for a long time. I just think that just got to him, and that just made him click. Because a couple of months ago, I think it was a month ago, whatever it was, there was reports saying that he's struggling to change the mentality of the players, change the mentality of the whole club. Still, the club's mentality is still top four, yeah, and he's sitting there saying, well, no. So it's been a bit of a struggle the whole season, yeah, because there was a month ago that there was things about him, you know, trying to convince everyone that, you know, this is not the right mentality. And this is a club that's had Conte and Mourinho in charge as well, which again confuses me, because if you have the right mentality, and that's it for me, you've got those managers that have won stuff already. You know what I mean? I just think at the moment, it unfortunately it comes from leadership from the top. And for me, if Ange's going to be successful, he's got to do it in spite of the club. So what I mean by in spite of the club, he's got to go against what the principles of this club is, right? Which is you know, going against overachieving like Pochettino did.
You mean he's got to win something?
Yeah.
Go against the principles of the club.
I'm gonna give it a harsh reality. Maybe because I was watching many games today, and I watched all the most Premier League games. You know, here in the States, we have Peacock, so we could see the many teams play. I'm gonna give you the harsh reality. For what we are linked to, the players that we're linked to in the summer, and I'm gonna be honest, in the glory heyday, you know, with Poch, we had one of the best strikers in the world in Harry Kane. There was a regression, the end of United, right? Pep wasn't in yet, but just about to enter the league, right? That was our window for us to win this league with Poch, right? There was a missed opportunity. We got 0 trophies that came out of it. This is a different story in the sense of, you know, people say Pep has 1 more year, two more years. The quality Manchester City has is just, for 38 games, it's the reason why they're favorites to win the league, and they're going to 5-peat. They're going to win it again. You look at Arsenal, the quality, right? We may make fun of them, but you know, they have a set for 38 games because our fan base goes, well, we drew with them, and we drew against City, and what you're not understanding, for 38 games next season, now we have the Europa League along with the cups, right? We don't have the quality like these teams have to even think of challenge next season. Our place where we're going to be next year, and I'm being really honest, even if we get 1 or 2, is really 4th to 7th. 4th to 7th. That's basically it. 4th to 7th, that is going to be. And people may say, well, Mari, you're being negative. But no, it's being realistic. I rate some of the Chelsea players. Right now, what you see what Chelsea's doing, right? This is what I expected for them, right? If we go by player, right, I bet you we'll end up rating more Chelsea players than Spurs, right? So I think they're going to be better. Newcastle was riddled with injuries. They'll be better, right? Villa, right? They're going to want to improve, right? People say, well, now they're playing Champions League. They're going to regress. Even if they regress, they got a better squad than us. So Villa is going to be better than us. And then Liverpool, all right, they get an Ernie Slot, right? If you believe it, I don't even know if it's official, but they're still going to be
It's
quality
official.
and good. And so realistically, honestly, to be at best, fourth. But in all honesty, we are closer to 6th and 7th or 8th. With 2 games a week, I'm just being really honest because we're not bringing in all-world talent, right? We're looking at Suzuki and whatsoever. You know, we have to be honest. We have to be honest. And you know, people say, "Well, we're being negative." You know, I see, you know, the comments. Some of the comments. I don't care. I just like to be honest about our club and stuff because when I see quality, when I look and see some of these other teams, I see the quality that they have. I look at ours. I'm just like, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
Maury,
I'm just being real. I'm just being real.
let me, guys, Brian has to go. Let me just give him the floor quickly. Say good night, goodbye.
Yeah, listen, just everyone have a great Stel. Thanks for having me on, Mari. Thanks for having me on. Everyone on the panel, thanks for spending time with me. And everyone in the chat, just have a wonderful summer. It's Spurs stress-free result-wise. Let's just wait and see what a certain person at the top does. If he fails to deliver, I will go about making his life a living hell once again, as will many others. Have a great summer, everyone. Much love. And as always, Levy out.
Big up, Brian. Make sure everyone goes, subscribe, like Tottenham on Tour. Just very quickly before we carry on, I need to address this guy because he's absolutely deluded. Right. God beats. You're saying, when did the club say they're not going to play the youth? The club have said nothing, right? Then you say to me, Simon Davies is not the manager of Tottenham. I never said he was. And then you say to me that he can't tell me what Tottenham have told him. Tottenham haven't told him anything, right? Get this into your skull because you're deliberately trying to be difficult. I develop football players. Most of them don't progress anything beyond grassroots. But the ones that shine, they then go through a phase to try and get into an academy to the point of where they're offered a contract. Starts at 9, goes up to 21. I've been doing it for 12 years. I've got contacts at pretty much every Premier League club. I have to know the recruitment officers. I get to know the academy directors. It's what I do. So when I meet Simon Davies, and by the way, Brian Daigle met Simon Davies because I brought him with me. Phil P, I think, met him. I think Phil P came along as well. I've taken various people over the years. I asked Simon Davies, what's the plan with the youth? Which ones can we expect to come through this season? And he said to me, none of them are ready. I said, is that your view? The manager's view? No. I work closely with the manager. When I then spoke to the recruitment team, they said to me, Simon Davies and Postecoglou, their relationship is just as tight as what it was when McDermott was the academy director and Poch was there. They had a great relationship. They haven't seen a relationship like that since Ange and Davies, right? So when Simon Davies says something, it's off the back of what he believes and the communication he has with Ange. At the same time, Ange Postecoglou, he doesn't sit there watching all the academy games. He doesn't sit there working with the academy. His job is the first team. So he has to trust the academy director to relay the correct information to him. So if Ange says, what players do you think are ready? It's the academy director that's going to give him the advice. He's the one that will feed it into him. Just like scouts, when they come up to me, Stel, what players should we look for? What players do you recommend? They're trusting me to feed them players. And then the recruitment team feed players into the academy. Then the academy director feed players to Ange. It's a chain. So if Simon Davies says something to me, do you know what? It's probably going to be right. And so far, it's been bang on the money. everything. So if you don't want to believe it, that's fine. But this is what I do. You don't do any of this. So if you want to believe what Twitter says, do it. If you want to go and watch Chris Cowlin and he'll tell you what you want to hear, go watch Chris Cowlin. I don't know what else to say to you, right? Good luck. And that's it. I'm not going to speak on it again. Charlie, big up, man. How you doing? How you feeling? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. First of all, cry, Arsenal fans. It is done. All done. That was good. Yeah, no, I'm good. Watched the Spurs game. Of course, I had an eye on the City game, although I was reasonably confident that they would beat West Ham. I mean, I predicted 4-1, 3-1, not that far off. But yeah, same amount of trophies for Arsenal as Spurs this season. Make of that what you will. But yeah, no, I watched Spurs. I mean, we 3-0. It's what I was hoping we would do last game. I was saying we've got to be beating Sheffield by at least 2 goals just to go out, with a bit of pride in a way. Yeah, we did that, to be fair. I mean, honestly, in terms of our play, it's hard to judge considering it is Sheffield. Like, I don't think we were that great, especially in the early stages. We were all over the place. Sheffield actually had the better chances. But, I mean, we got the goal and then it is what it is. We come out 3-0 and, yeah, probably the deserved result. But, yeah, got a lot of things to do. Got a lot of stuff to do over the summer transfer market. Yeah, there's gaps. Go on.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about, the transfer market, the youth, the academy, what players we want to see come in, who we're linked with, the challenging for the Europa Cup. By the way, I didn't realise this, but it's been brought to my attention. Alex, apparently you made a bet. I don't know what the bet is, but apparently you've got to wear an Arsenal shirt. Does anyone know what the bet was? Because I know it was on Perchie's channel back in the day. And Perchie's, jumping at the bit to remind us. Alex, what was the bet?
I don't know what the hell is wrong with you all with those bets with Arsenal shirts. Like I kid you not, like
Not happening. I'd rather pay the money.
yeah.
But by the way, Stefan's asked me for your bank account. Apparently, he's got to pay you £100 for a bet that he lost.
Yeah. Well, the deal was the money goes to Great Ormond Street, but if he wants to send it to me first, I'll send it to there and show the receipt. That's not a problem.
All right. Can I give him your number, Dan? Is that right?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll let you two sort it out.
Cool.
Still play the link I sent you. There's a link. Hold on a minute. What's going on here?
We got the receipts.
So let me send you a link. Perchie, you haven't sent
Oh
the link.
my
Oh, he's wearing it. Oh, he's wearing it.
He's done it.
What the fuck?
Oh, my goodness.
You tramp, mate. Get that
shit
dirty.
off.
Oh,
Get that shit off the screen.
you absolute tramp.
Oh my days.
Perchie, I don't need the link. I don't need the link.
Why does he have an Arsenal shirt anyway in the first place?
I think he was pre-prepared.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was an old one. It was an old one with O2
Oh, how's
as
hideous.
a sponsor.
Oh, Alex. Oh,
Alex,
Oh,
what the
goodness.
fuck did you agree to? What did you do, man?
oh. Oh, my goodness.
Hold on.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh Lord.
Oh, my goodness. That was disgusting.
Oh my god, look, the chat's gone nuts.
Oh,
He really is the main event.
He's got Campbell on the back.
I am traumatized. Wait. Brother. My brother.
Alex,
What was that?
Listen, you need to explain to us what just happened and what you did.
Basically, I did a bet with Perchie on his channel when he was doing YouTube. If Ange Postecoglou stays for the whole season, I had to put an Arsenal shirt on.
Yeah.
And he reminded me in it. So unfortunately, I had to do my word, innit? I had to stay by my word, innit? Unfortunately, innit?
I totally
I wasn't
forgot
really.
that. I remember that.
I wasn't really up for it because I'm just so down at the moment because I just don't feel at the moment really. But
you feel burnt, don't you?
because I respect Perchy, that's why I've done it. That's the only reason why I've done it.
Alex, sorry. Can I hear it again? Good beats. Email me. All right, email me and I'll get you on the show. What was the bet?
Well, I thought Andrew's gonna leave before the end of the season, so I didn't think he was gonna last season. I wasn't convinced because everyone was going over the top. Everyone was going, "Oh,
Alex,
so good."
To be fair, that's actually a question we can talk about. I think someone said it in the chat. Will Ange still be the manager this time next season? I think that's a very, very interesting question that someone's brought up because this is the thing. This is the first manager to complete a season since Poch 18-19. So
by the way, it's my brother's shirt. By the way, he supports Arsenal. Alex's brother supports Arsenal. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so that's the reason why I've got an Arsenal shirt. So don't
Alex,
get it twisted.
Alex, people in the comments are saying that you had Campbell on the back. Is it true?
Has he got Campbell on the back?
Alex, lie. Alex, lie. Alex, lie. Just lie, man.
No. That'd be funny if it was, but no, I don't think he does.
Alex, if it did, you'd get a 1-year ban from the channel, man. I wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Oh my
But it's just unfortunately, yeah. He reminded me this morning about it, but I was like, oh, do I really have to? Because I'm just really not in the mood with Tottenham at the moment. But
he came, yeah, got him.
Yeah, I know. He's a good friend anyway, so I can't have a go. I've got to stick by my word, innit? I've got to stick by my word. You know what I mean?
Well, come on then. We've got a super chat from
He
fans.
won't be. I don't think he will be next. I don't think he will be.
Do you want to make a bet? Do you want to make a bet, Alex?
No. I wish you know what. I wish I just did the money, but no, I can't do these £100 bets and all that.
Because you was having this situation with Perchy while I was having the debate with Tom at the same time, and you come on the show with me and Tom, and you and Tom both teamed up on me saying that Ange wouldn't make it, and you'd already made the bet with Perchy, and then I made the £50 bet with Tom. That's right. I remember everything now.
Yeah. He's got it clipped on. He's got it clipped. So he reminded me in it. So that's the reason. So I just did it in it. I can't go back on my word in it. So yeah.
Dan, I know you got to go. Do you want to just quickly tell us whether you think Ange will be the manager next season, and then you can speak?
You know what? That's a tricky one. That really is a tricky one. Because there's one side of me that says he could be gone by Christmas if certain things don't change. There's another side of me that says if there's some sign of progression and he likes it as well, it might ride. I honestly don't know. I'm proper on the fence with that one. I don't know. I'd have to flick a coin, basically.
If you're a betting man, which I know you are, how would you bet?
No.
Will you wear an Arsenal shirt?
Mate, you got no chance of that one, mate. I'd rather do a bet of £1,000 than do that shit. Not a chance in hell. Not
is anyone
chance.
Is anyone here thinking that Alex? Sorry, not Alex. My God, Ange. Sorry, Alex. I'm still shocked by you. You disappeared off the screen, right? I thought you were going to make a cup of tea or go on the toilet. You come back on an Arsenal shirt, man. I'm still shocked.
Because Perchy was kept on in the chat, and even Sam said it, and I was like, oh, just do it, so I can just get
get it done and dusted. Look,
Alex, you truly are the main event. You're truly the professor of truth and entertainment.
But Alex, you're a man of your word. Fair play to you, man. You stick by it. Same as Steph. He's going to pay up. He's one man of his word. Fair play to him. Right, people, I've got to go. Cheers for having us on the show still. And everyone, take care of yourselves. And thank God the season's over.
Guys, subscribe to the Hotspur Hood. Help
Cheers,
Dan in
man.
this channel continue to grow. He's doing well. Let's help him keep it all up. Big up, Dan.
Cheers, people. Take care. Bye.
Cheers, my man. I've just put a link in the chat for the bet that Alex made because people are asking for it.
Still,
She sent it to me, so there you go. Yeah,
I don't know.
Dan, Charlie, what about you? Do you think Ange will be here next season?
I mean, a lot suggests no, but at the same time, like, because for me, it depends. Like, if he's going to be here, it depends what is the metric of success for next season. Because, I mean, I think we all know from Levy's head that, yeah, if he's in the top 4, he's not going to be sacked. Like, that's just how it goes. If he's, like, I don't know, by Christmas, if he's comfortably 4th by, like, I'd say maybe 4 points or something, I think he probably lasts until the end of the season. But at the same time, you just don't know, do you? You don't know, because I completely disagree with it, but the club think top 4, Champions League money. You know what I mean? So I think a lot will depend on that. I don't know if you guys have already brought this up, but going into next season, from my perspective, for me, success will be determined on the cups, because I'm disgusted about how we threw away the Carabao Cup, making all those changes against Fulham. And I'm disgusted about how we went out the FA Cup without a single shot on goal against Man City. So next season, we're going to obviously we're going to be in the Carabao Cup. We're going to be in the FA Cup. We're going to be in the Europa League. And this is the thing. A lot of fans saying, oh, Europa League's easy. It's like all these random teams. Think again. It's not. It's some very, very difficult teams. And I think the Europa League will be very, very difficult to win. But at the same time, I want us to actually, for once, take it seriously and not chuck it away. Because we talk about Champions League. Levy wants Champions League. Winning a Europa League gets you Champions League football. It's the same, I guess, prize as top 4. The only difference is you actually get a trophy. So, for me, the Europa League, I want that. For me, that's where most of the eggs have to be next
Charlie,
season.
I don't think you get sorry to interrupt you. I don't think if you win the Europa League now, you go into Champions League.
No, you do. You do.
You do.
Yeah.
You still
You
do.
do.
So this is what I'm saying. As a club, and if you talk about the basic metric of what defines success in sports, the idea is to win trophies. Whether that, I'm not even talking about the league or the Champions League, whether that's cups or Europa Leagues, whatever it is. Go out and actually, I mean, look, if we actually go out in the Carabao Cup, go in the FA Cup, go in the Europa League, and actually give it everything and not chuck it away, I'll be able to sit there and say, look, whatever happens, you know what? At least for once, we haven't chucked it away and we've given it a go. Maybe we were just outdone by the better team in one of the rounds. We don't know. But what I don't want to see is a repeat of Zagreb, the last time we were in that competition, or the times before that where we've gone out to like teams we shouldn't be losing to. I actually want to see us give that a go. Like at least, beat the teams we should beat. And then if I don't know, look, we don't know who's going to be in there yet. I think you've got Roma. That's the first, I guess, real obstacle we might have. But I guess the good thing is you won't get the teams dropping down from the Champions League. So that will increase our chances of going further because you don't get that. With the new format, you don't get the dropouts. So, yeah, that's where I'm at for next season for me. I've accepted we're not going to challenge for the title. We're not going to mount a serious title challenge. So for me, and the club will probably think completely different to this, but for me, it's all about the cups and especially that Europa League for me, especially. So that's what I want to see next season. Us not chuck away the cups for once.
I'm with you.
Go on, Murray. Go.
Yeah. What my objective for this club next season, realistic objective, is definitely the domestic cups, how we do on the Europa League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. If we could pluck one of them, especially maybe the Carabao Cup, I would. You guys know my opinion about trophies. I just want one. Just one. One will shut me up and be happy. Just give me one. If you give me the Carabao Cup next season, I will kiss your hand.
I'm taking that any day.
I will take it because I'm so starved of winning stuff that I want a cup. If it's the Carabao Cup, I'll take it. And position wise, I'm being honest. The club would want 4th or the Champions League or the the Europa League if the club keeps them. I think if they don't get qualified for the Champions League, either through the Europa or through top 4 or top 5 because of the rating, then Ange may be in some trouble. But to be honest with you, if we finish 5th or 6th, it's probably my objective for the club because I don't think we will do any better unless this transfer window, it is the most amazing transfer window of my time of supporting this club. But I honestly don't think that. So I honestly don't think that the other clubs who struggled this year, the Chelsea's, they're going to get better. And so, just realistically, if you gave me a 5th or 6th, and a Carabao Cup, I'm content.
Happy.
I don't know about the club because the club may want Champions League, and that's not money. So,
but Murray, it's not even just. I totally agree with you. By the way, I think you're spot on. But it's not even just that. Off a lot of our fans. By the way, big up Huddersfield Town TV. A lot of our fans I've seen, not all of them, but some, they discard these cups like they don't mean anything. Like they'll be like, it's only the Carabao Cup. It's a blessing in disguise that we went out the Carabao Cup. I don't get it. This is a trophy that we are in that we should respect and actually have a go.
Yeah, Charlie, it's not on our players who need to taste winning. It's our club. Our club needs to taste. I've said this. Edge just said this. Inside and outside the club, we don't know what winning is, right? He came from Celtic, where there's heritage all over, right? In our club, we don't know what winning is. So at least we have to start with something, right? A Carabao Cup. If we win something, we're jumping like it's a start, not only for the players.
It's something to celebrate. It's a day out at Wembley. You know what I mean?
For the club. It's a
Guys,
start.
can I ask you something? Right, we're talking about winning trophies. We're talking about bringing through the youngsters, transfers, yada yada. We're gonna have to wait and see in the summer, and then that's. I spoke to Alex box office earlier because we both went on We Are Tottenham TV, did a fan cam, and I said to Alex, this summer is where we decide really what's what, because we've said it before, this transfer window, but this transfer window, I think so many fans are looking at it with like Hawkeyes, eagle-eyed view on this one. The team that's gone to Australia, apparently they're flying out, or they've already flown out today to go on the Australian tour.
They're already on the way.
Why is Romero not in the squad?
Copa America.
But Bentoncourt's in the squad.
But still, that's the most ridiculous thing, the Australian tour, and really unfair for the players who play the Copa and the Euros. Why are these scheduled? Like, I don't understand it.
No, I'm trying to understand why Romero's in the squad, because
I think
some fans said he might be leaving. It was a rumor. It was a rumor last month.
To where? Which club?
I don't know. But do you think? Why has Romero been left out of the squad? Because look, Son's playing, Van der Ven's going, Vicario's going, Maddison's going, all the main starters are going. The injured players like Basuma aren't there, Richarlison, they're injured. Why is Romero not going, guys? Does this worry you?
Wait. I think I know. I think his wife either is giving birth or is pregnant, late pregnant. Maybe that's why.
Madrid,
I think I saw a picture of his wife, either like being pregnant or they had the new kid. I'm not sure, but maybe I'm not saying this is like definitely the reason, but maybe.
I don't think Romero's leaving the club. I mean, maybe give it another year if we're still not winning trophies.
Now there's a rumor for Madrid. Madrid is looking at him, but I don't think that's going to happen.
If Madrid want him, then I don't think he'll want to turn that down.
Yeah,
so,
Madrid is looking at.
I don't think he's leaving. I think he'll be here for at least next season.
If Madrid come, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah,
you're gone. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, apparently City are interested in Van der Ven, so there is that. But
It's all the rumours. It's ITK.
I have to like give my piece on the Europa League, and like completely agree with what you guys said, right? And also on the question with whether Ange survives the season, right? I think there are two main factors for me when it comes to whether he survives the season or not. And the first one for me is the ambition of the club. And I think the ambition of like us fans when it comes to incomings and the ambition of the club and Ange might be like slightly different, in my opinion. And I think it's just like his personal like view on the transfer window. If he's satisfied with it, that's the first condition for me. But the second condition, and I think this has to be the priority, is the fucking caps, right? Because this was the first season, and happy birthday, Danny. This was the first season, right? And I think like we were pissed off like a lot because we got knocked out of both cups, right? But I think a lot of the fans had this attitude that, listen, this is the first season, we lost Harry Kane and all that jazz, right? But I think this fan base will be like satisfied with Ange as long as he treats Caps with the dignity they deserve and with the respect those Caps deserve. And I think if we go out to Fulham like we did this season, in the upcoming season, he's not surviving a month, in my opinion. Because I already see there are a lot of people like waiting to pounce on him and his mistakes. And I feel like it has to be like utmost importance for him to actually focus the Caps and the Europa League. I honestly, I would disregard the league as long as we keep those Caps like as a priority. And also, as you boys said, like I think Carabao gets you into Conference League, FA Cup gets you into Europa League, if I'm not mistaken, and Europa League can get you into Champions League, right? So those are also the free chances to be in Europe, right? It's not only the league. So that's the most important thing for me. I think if we treat the Caps like with respect they deserve, and we actually like go for it, I think, and Ange is satisfied with the transfer window, I think he will survive next season, right? But if any of those things don't happen, I think he's gone. That's the way I see it.
I think what's very interesting is, what Stel mentioned it. Every season we say this is the transfer window, this is this, but I'm interested because in terms of what's going to happen, what is the reaction going to be by a lot of fans? Is it going to be the same? Like what I'm saying is, are we going to be sitting here, like it's the 19th of May, are we going to be sitting here 19th of July having the same conversation? Like we haven't got this player yet. This player hasn't come in. We should have done this. Because if we're in that position, then I worry going into the next season because of our history when it comes to not doing what we should be doing and leaving
Charlie,
too late.
There's one big difference this time around. One big difference. And that is Tottenham on tour are nearly at 10,000 subscribers, right? This channel's almost at 20,000 subscribers. The online voice is louder this time. So if it's full-blown Levy out, it's going to disrupt the whole community, the whole YouTube podcast space. There's no hiding this time. We've got a platform to make the noise this time. So I think fans won't be able to just ignore it. And from a lot of fans that I speak to, a lot of them now are beginning to be in that place of, don't fuck it up with Ange. We're not going to accept it if you fuck it up with Ange. If Ange fucks it up because of his tactics and his team selection, then yeah. But if it's obviously because we don't sign decent players, especially, I think one of the best things that happened for us was Arsenal spending £100 million Declan Rice, because they're not richer than us. They're not a club that can go and spend £100 easily. The fact they did that kind of sent a message that, hey, we can mix it with the big boys, as in Arsenal. And I think we were told we're going to build this stadium, we're going to be able to do this. We've got the revenue, the 8th highest revenue in world football. The more information that gets put out there, the more fans are learning. And the more we learn, the more we realize, well, hold on. If we can't compete with Chelsea and Man City, that's one thing. But why can't we compete with Arsenal? Why can't we compete with Liverpool? Why can't we compete with those teams? So Arsenal doing that kind of puts pressure on our club a bit. So I think fans are in a different place this time. And I think YouTube and podcasting is in a different place. I think this time, and I'm not just saying it, I actually think this time, if they fuck it with Ange, I think Levy gets it full on. I do.
But-
I think this time he will get it full on.
I don't think
Fans-
he cares. I don't think he cares still. And I'm
But
gonna
he
just
will
give
when
you
the fans switch. He will when the fans switch.
Do you know what it is?
I don't think he really cares still. And I've got to be honest as well. I'm gonna just give you my prediction straight away. I actually want us to be 5th next season with no cups, because then I want to see what the reaction is going to be. I actually want to see it, because I mean what I say. I don't think he'll be here the following season. I don't think he'll walk. I think this needs to be. I think he needs to stay for the full 4 years to change the mentality of the club and change the whole philosophy of the club. I don't think you can get another manager in, because this club ultimately fails doing that every single time. I think the only way to do this is have stability. I think we need to do what Brighton did: keep with Graham Potter for a few years and let it grow. And then when it goes, when at the end of his contract, if we don't want to move on with him, we move on to somebody else. At least then we've had a 4-year stability with the manager for all those years, regardless what happens. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I can see why people are saying what they're saying. They want to see trophies and see that we want to, go for the trophies and take it more seriously. But I think at the moment, I think our club is broken at the moment. I don't think we actually understand who we are. You know what I mean? Who we are as fans, how we are as a club. I don't think we understand each other. I don't know who Tottenham are. That's why I'm so gone now. I don't know. Yeah. So for me at the moment, I think the only way to mend this at the moment, it needs to be a stability, and I think Ange needs to be here for 4 years, because I just don't see getting another manager in. And yeah, you can have the directors and whatever and whatnot there or wherever. I just do not see how this is going to help Tottenham long term. I think everyone needs to be in place at the moment and just get that philosophy in place, get everything in place. And yeah, we might do well. I think Ange can overachieve, yes, but at the same time, it could go wrong. I think with us having that stability, I think that's the only way it's going to do. So, like I said again, I think it's going to have to be 4 years. You know what I mean? And going through the 4 years of maybe going through a few years of pain to go through to that long term. That's just me. So I actually say for next season, I actually just get 5th or 10th. I'd love to see the reaction to the board then, because for me, then we'll see whether this is real or long term.
Yeah, but didn't you say that about this season and they've stuck with him, Alex?
He had not. Dan summed it all up perfectly for you. All he needs to do is play the ball forward. Yeah? He had no expectations this season. I had nothing. I was not going to prove my point this season. I didn't have any point to prove this season, because if Tottenham Hotspur sacked the manager this season, they're just they're literally are stupid. You know what I mean? The season is next season, the season after that. Then we'll see whether this is real long term.
But I'm seeing everyone saying Ange in, right? I'm seeing so many people say Ange in, which is a good thing. So if they don't back,
it doesn't matter about the fans though. It doesn't matter about the fans though. The fans shouldn't matter in this situation. Unfortunately, it's about what Arsenal have done with Arteta. Show leadership and show that this is connecting. At the moment, I don't see this connection. What do you mean? What do you mean connection? What do you mean by that? Well, I see Ange up here, and I see us up down here.
What, the fans?
No, I see the club down here. I see Ange up here.
When you
Because
say the
Ange-
club, do you mean the owners?
The owners,
fans?
yeah. The owners, yeah. Because the owners
Board.
are like they're that's
You
they're,
mean about ambition, Alex? You mean
yeah,
about
ambition, yeah.
Yeah. I think also vision too, because
That's what I'm
like
saying.
from what-
Vision.
yeah, because when you hear Arsenal and you see Edu and Arteta on board with the same
Win
plan
nothing again.
as Cronky, whereas without club you have the board, right, and the people that he hired, right, and Ange. And do you believe Ange is a yes man, or Ange has a voice or say? Ange says, "I wanted Johnson, I wanted Werner." Whatsoever. The question is, do we really believe that? In the sense of, okay, this summer, are there going to be really club signings, or is it really Ange signings in regards to what we want to see? And I think that's the big difference between the Arteta Arsenal process and Spurs or any other manager process. It's just that the club says, "Hey, work with this. This is what we want you. This is what you have to work with." Where our previous managers were like, "Wait, like Arteta, hey, I need this, I need that. Get rid of this, I need that." Question is it going to be the same way with Ange? Early signs says no, because I find it hard to believe, or maybe it is true. Ange wants those players, and if he does, I question his recruitment, his talent, his eye for talent, because it's not good enough. And so I think that's the big difference. You're spot on, Alex.
If he gets top four, he'll stay. He'll stay.
Alex.
That's what they want, isn't it? That's what they want. But
can I just add on to what Maury said? So,
Yeah.
in terms of like club signings or Ange signings, I think the biggest way we're going to be able to tell is by position. So, I think all of us here can agree that we need at least 2 forwards to come. A number 6, a defensive midfielder, and we need cover at fullback at least. So I think in terms of whether it's a club signing or not, if we're bringing in players like we've seen it before, like we bring in players when we've already got options in that position, instead of actually looking at the giant holes in our starting 11 for just so we can bring in a player that's seen as like an opportunistic thing because they're available from a club that has financial problems. Like you look at it, Richarlison, right? Yeah, when we bought him, we needed another striker in the squad, but we've spent 60 million quid on Richarlison when we had holes in our first 11 at centre back and wing back that we didn't bother to fix. You look at it, we bought in Jed Spence when we needed a right wing back, but yet the manager didn't want that. So yeah, for me, look, whether it's a club signing or not, a lot will depend on, like, if you look at it, if we sign someone like Gallagher, that screams club signing just because it's an opportunity because Chelsea need to sell players to make money back on FFP. So if we see a signing like, I don't know, like Kubo, I think that's an Ange signing because Ange, we know we need a player like that in that position. I think Kubo fits what we need perfectly. So from that logic, you can make the assumption that, yeah, that's probably an Ange signing. But then if we're signing someone like Gallagher, you know that it's a club signing because they've just taken the opportunity to get a player at a cut price. So I think that's how we'll be able to tell. And I just hope, and it's the hope that kills you. I just hope that we're not sitting here in 2 months, 19th of July, and saying, what's this? Like, why have we signed this player? We haven't addressed that hole. You know what I mean?
I don't think
so.
It's
Yeah,
just about
for me, it's
signings,
all about positions, and for me, it's all about filling the positions.
But it's not about just signings, because I've got to let Michael speak. But the thing is, though, yeah, right? It's not just about signings for me. It's about the vision at the moment, and whether we are willing to stick with this vision for a long time. And that's the thing for me. You know what I mean? I think there's too much on this summer when I think every summer seems to be the Groundhog Day for us. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, I just can't get on board with it. Regardless whether he gets his signings or not, he should have no pressure on him at the moment. You know what I mean? He should have no pressure on him at the moment. Yeah, and this is the guy that don't even like him. Yeah, so I think for me at the moment, I think we need to just whatever happens next season, right? We got to stick with this process with him, and that's it for me for 4 years. We have to do that. So this is a long-term project for me, and that's it for me. I think that for me will show me stability. That for me will show me, okay, we've gone through it, and that's it. And that will give me a little bit of hope. But again, I think it's more to do with Ange now. Like Pochettino persuaded me his second season with Ange, whether he will show me, he will give me belief. At the moment, I don't see that at the moment. But I think if he does the ordinary thing, I think that's when I will get on board. When I should be feeling like the club and the manager should be doing that for me. And I don't think the club will always they won't show me that. You see what I'm saying? So that's where my issue is at the moment. That's why I think he'll walk next season. That's the thing. Sorry, Michael.
Can I just quickly say, Michael, I'll come to you. To all the Arsenal fans that have just jumped in this chat, calling me out, right, with your nonsense. Josh Kroenke showing ambition and Spurs celebrate you failing. Just a reminder to all of you, okay? Just a little reminder.
Still, I can see you in that video. I see you. I can see you.
Listen, they are what they are. But there's again, ole, ole.
I see.
Anyway, listen, they got to learn. They got to learn. This is what happens. You know. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm just going to wait till Christmas and then decide whether or not we're improving, whether or not the new signings make sense. And because like we could sign. Do you know my problem is? As much as I'd love to see Chiesa, Caravascalia, Elise, and Jimenez and all these players, the reality is that's not going to happen. But I can't just be dismissive of it because Vicario and Van der Ven proved me wrong. But then Brennan Johnson and Veliz proved me right.
You're right, yeah.
So it's like...
Although you are really harsh on this like 18-year-old Argentinian kid. Like, you always use Veliz as an example. I'm like, wow. He didn't even get the chance. So. But I would say Richarlison and Johnson are a better example.
Richarlison, Werner, fair enough.
Just in picking.
Richarlison, Werner, and Johnson proved me right.
I just said that, Michael, because
I'm
not saying because I love everything Argentina, but I think there still needs to be time to the jury. The jury is out on him. It's still gotta give it time,
Yeah, so I think with the transfers, right? And I'm not really sure what channel I heard it on, right? But I've heard somewhere that if we really want to change our approach, right? And if we want to stick to this mentality and philosophy of playing a certain style of football, and even if Ange leaves, then there will be someone else, right? I think it kind of means that we can't really give Ange 100% of the signings won't be for the first team, in my opinion, or 100% of the signings won't be chosen directly by him. I think. I don't know if you guys get what I mean, but I think I think we will sign someone like Bergvall or someone like Vuskovic or someone like that Nusa kid from Club Brugge that we tried to sign in the January transfer window, right? Or Velis or someone else. I think, and I don't think we should overreact when it happens, because I think as much as we need to like cater to the needs of the first team, right? I also think we need to look at other places, bring in like young talent, and you know, I know it's annoying. I know like many of those kids won't make it, right? We won't see them really, right? But we are not the only club that does that, in my opinion, right? And I just hope that we already have identified the positions and the profile of players that we need, right? And as much as I am completely on board with Stel, I would love for us to bring in, I don't know, fucking Vlahovic, Kvaratskhelia, I don't know, as a center defensive mid, someone
Chiesa, Elise,
like
Eze,
as much as I would like for
Isak.
this to happen, unfortunately, those type of players are like, you know, 90 million, 80 million, right? And even with as much like wiggle room as we have with the FFP and stuff, right? It's not like reasonable for me to expect for all of this to happen in one window, if you get what I mean, right? Like I think like Tottenham, we always laugh, but Tottenham always do this. We will have like a marquee signing, let's call it, right? I think we will have a guy coming for like 60 to 70 million. I honestly, I have a feeling, it's just my feeling, but I have a feeling it will be Eze, in my opinion.
Nah. It's Conor Gallagher. It's Conor Gallagher.
No.
Yeah, then fuck off and fold the club, right? But
I think we're gonna get Conor Gallagher. You know, I think.
I want Eze's the one it should be.
I listen. I think we will get Conor Gallagher, but I think he won't be the marquee signing, if you get what I mean, right? Because I think like the marquee signing of this previous window was Maddison, right? Even though the price doesn't really like suggest it was a marquee signing, but in terms of like the name, you know, how appreciated he was in the league, etc., right? So I think we will get like Eze, who will be like the you know, the marquee signing of the window, and I think then we will get players to fill the gaps in the squad. So like Gallagher to have depth in the middle, and you know, and that type of situation.
The thing is,
right?
Michael, Gallagher. The main issue I have with Gallagher is, first, I don't think he's very good as a player, but secondly, he's not a number 6. He's not a CDM. We need, for the midfield, above anything else, we need a CDM. Like, because the only one we've got at the club is Højbjerg, and we know that he's not, I guess, in the long-term vision of Ange, even though he played him in the North London derby for some reason. But anyway, I think, yeah, for me, with midfield, it has to be a CDM. And I think there's players out there. Like, this is what I keep saying. Obviously, we want players like Isak and Kvaratskhelia, Chiesa. None of them are ever coming to Tottenham. So the way I look at it is, I think that if this club actually put the money on the table, I think players like Kubo would come to Spurs. I think Manu Kone would come to Spurs. I think
that's a player.
Even someone like, I've mentioned him before, even someone like Riquelme. He's not getting in the team at Atletico. Even someone like him would come to Spurs. Yeah. He's class, yeah. Murray, I've been talking about him. He is class.
Who's that Egyptian player? Mohammed
Marmoush or something like that. He's called.
He looks
good.
Decent.
By the way, like, so what I mean, right? What I meant is, I think we'll sign someone like Calafiori, right? He's rumored to be valued at like 30 million euros. A really good center, left-sided center back who can play left back. I think we will get like a 40 million midfielder for depth, right? I think we'll have a marquee signing. I think we'll buy a youngster. I think we'll do like a typical Tottenham window. The thing for me is, as much as I 100% agree with Stel when he said that Brennan Johnson and Richarlison proved that this is not the way. Van de Ven and Vicario proved that this can be the way, right? So for me, I really want to see us in this window actually like analyze it and find like players who will fit this system. And I think if that happens, then I don't think we necessarily need 5 £70 million players, right? I think we need like 2, let's say, and then we can find those gems, right? Like Van de Ven was a gem, in my opinion. Because right now his valuation is probably like fucking 100 and something millions, right? And we bought him for like 38, I think, rising to 45 or something like that, right? So yeah, that's the way I see it. And yeah, I think the marquee signing will be as a listen, if they deem this to be the target, then I am all for it. And by the way, because Haas said that like Eze won't leave Palace now with the form they are in. As much as they are in an amazing form, I mean, come on. Like I think Tottenham is a step up from Palace. Let's not downplay ourselves too much. I think we can offer much better wages. I think we can offer like the prospect of playing in Europe right now. Like it's not like Eze is 20. I think he's 25 or something. So it's also not like he's like I think he kind of wants to make a step up to play in a club that will like play in Europe. I think he should. I think he's good enough for that. And as much as Palace are really on a good trajectory, there is no guarantee that they will play in Europe after next season, right? So yeah, I think we are a step up to Crystal Palace. I think we could convince him easily to join us. That's the way I see it.
Well, listen, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wait and see what happens this summer with all these players, with the academies players, if they come through, with what the rivals do. But the one thing we know that's a fact and how we end the season is we've won exactly the same as Arsenal. Fuck all. Fact. We'll see if Angie's still here next season. We'll see if we progress. We'll see what we do in the cup competitions. I think we're all just glad that's it. Season's done now. Let's build on it. And fingers crossed Spurs do build on it and we do change the way we approach transfers. We're going to have to wait and see. Mari, Michael, box office, Charlie, big up as always. Make sure everyone you subscribe to Brian Daigle's channel, who was on earlier, Tottenham on Tour. Make sure you subscribe to Dan's channel, The Hotspur Hood. He was on earlier as well. Make sure you subscribe to Mr. Box Office TV, a.k.a. the Gooner in disguise. And to No Filter FC, that's Charlie's channel. Big up to you guys. Thank you so much to all the super chats for tonight. From Soulboy, Dietrix, Sava, Dietrix and Sava with a few more, Perchy and Faz. Also, Henry Thong and William, channel members for 13 months. Big up to you. Everyone in the chat tonight, even if you're a Gooner, but especially the Spurs fans. Big up to all of you as always. We'll be back tomorrow for our Monday night podcast. We'll just be reviewing the weekend as a whole and what we think is a weekly show, what we think Spurs are going to do next season. Otherwise, have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves. And shall I do one more? Yeah, go on then. You know the Arsenal fans that had a go at us for supporting a different team? Well, apparently, Arsenal fans today were singing songs that West Ham sing. And here's one of the Arsenal fans with his half and half shirt.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
dear,
Jesus,
oh, dear.
That looks like shit.
Anyway, on that sickening note, guys, listen, big up, take care as always. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away.